So before I get more chickens, I'm gonna have to get a bigger barn.
It's well, that clock says exactly 5. I had it on my phone, so I don't know what the real time is. Number 2, public comment. If anybody have any comments about anything that's not on the agenda? There any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Yeah. We're gonna add 13A propane tank. I already wrote it in on your
Yeah.
agendas. And 19B will be resignation letter.
E?
Yes.
Okay, and the other thing too, and I don't know. Is there something on here about the wastewater? We can talk about it there.
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't need that.
Number 8.
Yeah. Just about the,
And we got,
Having a public-
do we have anything for the dump up there at the gravel?
No.
we should put that on there somewhere. Yeah, because
Other
it
business?
sounds like that's getting even worse.
Where do you want it?
Okay, somewhere.
Other business?
Could be another business. You do it in E. Under other business. You know, everyone. Okay, number 4, then approve the minutes of the May 19th. Meeting. Meeting.
I've read them. Think they're good, so I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for 5/19/2025.
Okay, any corrections or additions to the minutes of May 19th? Not all in favor, say aye.
All right,
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. We'll share. Okay, number 5, Edward Jones Investments.
Okay. So, I have a folder in front of you, and I'll kind of do a little brief presentation, and then I'll go down through the questions if they're not answered here. I'll be very brief because I see you have a massive agenda and a lot of stuff to go over. And yeah, the first sheet you'll see in the folder is just the CD rate, money market rates that we have. Then behind that one, and we'll come back to that a little bit, CD rates in a little bit, is a summary of your costs that Edward Jones pays. This one, well, it should have been second in the folder. But
Or listed on itself.
wow.
Okay. Yeah.
So the way the mutual funds and money markets work, they have fees embedded in them that you're not going to see coming out on your statements. It amounts to about 0.25 basis points per year. It's about $25 on every 10,000 per year that goes to Edward Jones. And the CDs that you purchase, they have a markup that we resell them to you that we usually make about 5 to 10 basis points per year per CD. So when you added up all that stuff over the last 12 months, you paid Edward Jones $312 on your 75,000. I get 40% of that. That's primarily how I get paid. The mutual funds can go up and down to the market, so my pay is a little dependent on how those perform. And that's just full disclosure from us. When we give you the returns on the account, that is net to you. We only give you net on the returns. Now, when you go into, there's 2 of these folders after. They have 2 different ones. Because there's 2 different accounts. And we'll start with the account ending in 255. Does that say right here? If you look, it'll have the ends on 255. There.
His card, they both have all that.
Yeah, we've got to relabel the name on one of these print out of these reports.
I got one, yeah.
This is the one that has some mutual funds. in here that are both stock and bond. The total value in this account is 75,919.21. And of that, 72% is in stocks, 28% is in bonds. Bonds are the safer stuff, stocks are the more volatile. And on the second page, you'll see a little chart of that. The graph here is a hypothetical 50-50 setup that some places do, but overall, you're closer to 50-50 because you got the other account is a lot safer. But that being said, we can always adjust these risk profiles for you whenever you want. But the important one is on the back page where there's a graph here that shows performance. And there we go.
Thank you. I think so.
Okay, watch it. So the green line was the money that was put into the account, and the blue is the value of the account. When you look underneath at the bottom, and this is it only goes back to 23 because that's when we broke up the accounts and separated them for accounting purposes to make it a little easier. But on the bottom, it'll show what it started and then the return in dollars and percentage down here on the bottom. And the graphs. So even though this account is in 70% stocks, which is fairly, well, that's normal. I mean, it's can be aggressive. But if you look this year on the graph, you didn't see a big drop when the market tanked in January. And that's because it's well diversified, it's got bonds, and it doesn't have the most aggressive stocks in it. So it held up pretty good. And even this year, even though the market year to date is pretty flat, it's had a pretty good year, up 4.5%, which we attribute that primarily to American funds. Let me make sure. Though you don't have American, they're Hartford funds. They've done better. I got to take it back. I usually use American funds, but the Hartford's done pretty good this year too. So if it's not broke, you don't fix it. But if you want to change any of the stock funds to bond funds, you can do that. It doesn't cost you anything. So if you wanted to be less aggressive for the next period of time, you could move some of the stocks. So right now you got 54,000 in stocks. You could move 10, 20, 30,000 of that into bonds, and it would be a lot safer, the volatility. But if you also
Yield would be hard.
long term. Yeah. So right now we're looking at if you were to go and move like 30,000 from stocks to bonds, your percentage negative decline, potentially you're looking at right now about a 35% maximum loss if we had a 2008 scenario or a 2001 scenario, which would be about $25,000 in the account. It could drop to 70 to 50,000. If you were to go safer, you could reduce that amount of decline to maybe 20%, which would be 15,000 instead of 25. But your average rate of return over the next 20 years, however long we kept it, would be probably 2% lower per year, which adds up over time. So it's just a question for you guys if you're more comfortable with a little bigger swings and a better return overall, or if you'd like lower swings and a lower return. That 2% adds up over 20 years. It doesn't add up over 2 years. So that's where the time frame when you need the money affects that question a lot. The other part of it is if this is not something you plan on using in the near future, I'm not as big a fan of making a huge change for the safety because it held up so well in this other one. So so it's not a, so now, and in this account, there is 2,300 of it that is in a money market, the Goldman Sachs money market. So that one's been pretty steady, but that's a pretty small percentage of this account.
bad yielding that for.
Yeah, 4%, right around 3.94.
Or when that gets. A little higher, do you invest it?
Well, in this account, it hasn't been growing that much, and we'll talk, when it gets to that point, we'll ask and they'll come in and say,
So what is the cash fee right below that, where it says?
That's- a 1% fund, that's like the savings account at the bank. And we don't have an automatic sweep into the money market. So when this cash is here, I have to actually physically call someone and talk to them to move it into the money market. That's one of the drawbacks with our money market.
Wow.
And so when it's, small, and I can ask that today up here,
Right.
but for $200, the difference in the interest probably isn't worth their time.
That's cash I made for interest. Right?
Yeah, and so what'll happen is sometimes some of the interest and dividends will get put into the cash instead of the money market. We try to set the accounts up so that automatically goes into the money market, but sometimes.
So that was the question. So that money market account is any like dividends that we've made over the last couple of years, that's where it automatically goes.
Potentially, some mutual funds will reinvest into the mutual fund. So it depends on how it's set up, and I don't have my computer here to tell you, but I can tell you. You can set up the mutual fund to go into the money market, or you can set it up to go into itself. Or it'll go, predominantly mutual funds will go into themselves. So if I did that, I'd say these are all reinvesting.
And you could set the interest of it to one account if you wanted to.
Yeah, if you,
In one in your fund.
yeah, so the mutual funds have capital gains distributions and interest and dividend distributions. You can have one go into the other side to build up and keep the other in the fund. However, you want to set that up, so if you want to use the interest, you won't deplete any of it. Theoretically, you could use some of the principal, if you average about 4%, that's about $3,000 a year, and you never deplete it. The interest and dividends are probably gonna run a couple. Percent.
That's what we're for.
Now, if you have a time frame and you want to deplete it over 20 years, then you're looking at a 6-7%. Rate of drawdown.
No, we're looking more at this.
We can set it up to do it either once, you can call me and say, Dan, I want 3,000 this year, and I'll put it in there. And then I can set up all the dividends and interest to go into a money market to build up for the next year. So theoretically, the next year. We're going.
Hopefully. Well, that's what we're paying the fees for. Fair enough.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you guys managing it to figure.
Yeah,
out how.
that's why you pay.
That's what
them,
I'm
to help
saying,
you.
that's what we pay the fees for, to
Yeah.
help us.
That's
with
what-
that.
Yeah.
That's what you do, yeah.
Yeah, so. Okay,
Yeah, he can set up a cash flow.
Yeah.
And
or you can do it once a year, and we can call and we can do it, or you could set it up to be $250 a month automatically into an account electronically.
Oh, I'm seeing
yeah, like a cash flow.
Yeah, however you guys want to.
Or we need to come around and speak that.
Yeah.
Well, once a year would fit that with the budget.
Yeah, we would.
Okay. And then. You have any other questions on this account? And there's another account separate that's the grader funds and the equipment funds.
Yeah.
This one,
And
If
it's
you-
still named Fishcock Nuclear Library.
yeah, that's. I have,
How
But
do
this
we
one's
get
not
that
specifically
changed?
the library.
It is
I'll
not,
say.
How do we get that changed?
Oh.
I have to tell the woman who works on it, get that done.
That's
Yeah.
like, what is it, what should this
So-
be called?
Yeah,
The greater
to
one.
do it.
Well, it's.
The greater fund.
Greater
So
fund.
the reports, so this is the grader fund. Yeah.
I think you have the greater fund in there.
Yeah, what else is in there?
There's a museum, not a museum, cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah, the-
That's all mixed in with this.
Yeah, we got the- let's say some-
We're talking about like. No one using some and all that, we would wanna make sure it's very clear.
Yeah,
We're not
right.
making any changes.
Well, and
So where's what about the good neighbor fund? Is that in there too?
Yeah.
No,
The what?
good neighbor
Good
fund.
fund not in there?
No.
Okay,
No,
and
the one that he was doing before, it's all related to the library.
yeah,
And then we
This
have
one
this
here.
other one is completely separate.
Yes, I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 3-5, the one ending in 3-5.
so the reason the name is like that is when we first went, cause I was the guy before you, Eve and I don't
I
know.
was there too.
You too, okay. And it was just the library stuff that we put in there first, and then
Yeah.
we started adding other stuff, but the name still stays with library.
Yeah, and we at least opened up a second account to try to keep them separate. And we do have a third account where if we want to separate more,
Yes.
we can. And we can put a different label on each of them.
Yeah.
Too. Now, if you look on the first chart here, you'll see that this one, it's all on the cash, on the bond side, and no stops. So this has all been exclusively CDs and money market items in this one, because very low risk. And if you go to the chart, the graph at the back to see the performance, part of the reason the low risk is because you see money coming in and going out of it. It's not as long of a time frame. And they want them to be safer. Now, part of, if you look at the returns here, you're going to see 22, it says a negative, and then 23 a positive, and then a positives and positives. That negative return wasn't actually a really negative return. What happens when you buy a CD from us, we put the value of it on your statement. And the CD will accrue interest, but it won't pay it. So that part doesn't get added in. And if interest rates were to go up some, the value of the CD you put on your statement is down lower, because if you sold it now, it'd be worth a little less money. So what happened in 22 is they bought some CDs during the year. They dropped in value and hadn't paid any interest yet. So at the end of the year, your statement looked like it was down 4.5% in value. But then in January, when the interest comes and you get the full principal back, it shows a 6% rate of return, but it really didn't make 6%. It was a lower percentage because interest rates were still in the 4 to 5 range. It was just the money that came in from the other year. But when you average it all out, it's 6.5%, which is still probably a carryover from some of it at the beginning where there may have been together accounts. But generally, with all this being in the CD money, if you put it in a money market, you're going to have 4% guaranteed. But if interest rates go down, so what it pay? But if you look at the CDs, yeah, you can lock it in for pretty much whatever time frame you want. And that's this sheet.
First one, give it.
Yeah, that's really come back to it.
I got an arm that goes slow and just had it filled with it.
Yeah.
There it
Well,
is.
well, actually, it seems pretty good for.
Yeah,
Good.
the other portfolio, weren't you saying it was about 4% on like the money market and all
Well,
that stuff?
No, but that was a withdrawal amount that we use as a rule of thumb.
Okay,
That you can take out of it and not deplete it.
Okay.
That's an industry average.
okay.
Now, with CDs, like the CDs, you're saying, oh, the CDs are paying 4% right now.
Right.
Well, but CDs don't always pay 4%.
Right.
So
Is that
Neither
partially
do stocks.
though?
okay, so going back to 6-7 years ago, rates were nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing. Then they came up and they peaked around 5%. Then they came back down to under 4 a little bit. Then they came back up to 5, and then went down to 3.7, 3.8. They're back up to about 4.3 right now. And that fluctuations over like a 2-year period. Now going forward, the expectation is the Fed to cut rates a few more times, which will lower the rates. But then there's the worry of inflation with tariffs and other things coming up in price, so it would keep rates higher. And the rule of thumb I have is the best predictor of what interest rates are going to do is what the CDs say going forward. So right now, the CDs are all pretty much the same. When interest rates, they were as high as 5%, but then the 5-year CD is 4%. Well, it makes you think rates are going to go down.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Whereas if short-term CDs are 3%, 5 years were 5%, well, they think rates are going to go up. That's some degree. There is some little bit of extra for the long term to locking in the premium. The banks will pay on that, but that's the general thumb. So it's looking like rates are going to stay pretty steady for the foreseeable future. And that being said, the biggest factor is when do you need the money? When do you want to spend it? And if you don't need it before then, probably lock it in, or at least a chunk of it for his,
It's always good to have a little slush fund for the building.
that's,
Exactly.
Maintain the building, it needs a lot of work.
so
You should.
in. And that's not uncommon, we do this like with people, they, have 10,000 in their money market if they need it, and then do the rest and like. You know? So in. So in this account, in the money market currently is 56,000. You've got 3 other CDs.
You're talking about the greater one now? You're still
The
talking-
greater.
Yeah.
I'm still talking the greater, because the big question is gonna be that. That 56,000 in the money market, if you want to do anything with it. And then on. What I. Yeah. You don't happen to have a statement from the greater account, do you?
Last month.
It's just to see, because on the report I give you, it doesn't give you the expiration dates of the CDs. And so I wanted to see what the others were. Apologies on that, no. Okay, so you got a $52,000 CD in the greater account that's gonna mature in May of next year. Now it's paying 5%. Then you have an 8,000 and a 5,000 that reach, there's in March and April of next year that are 485 and 495. So essentially, it's all about 1 year, all paying almost 5%. And that's a total of 65,000.
Yeah.
And so then you've got the 56, it's in the money market now. So the question is, do you want to get a CD with some of that? Or leave, whatever you want to do.
The 56, you mean, the greater one?
Right,
Yeah.
Well, we got more than we got 2. We got the 56 and the 11,000, 5 and 8,000, that's all great money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the 56 is more, so it's not. Big.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
There.
Yeah, there, that's what it is.
Yeah. And you can do more than one CD, they're $1,000 increments, so you can do. Depending on what you need, you want to do 1 year, 2 year. And this is as of right now, the term, so 1 year is 4.3. 2 years, 4.2. 3 year, 4.25.
Might as well leave it in the money market.
Yeah.
Of course, that could drop too, but it's about the same.
Yeah.
Return.
Is that what you would suggest?
what do you have for plans with this stuff right now?
we have a couple of things to say, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So how many years are you thinking?
Hopefully many.
It's
We gotta get greater. We gotta get
hopefully,
greater.
yeah, hopefully a long time, but
A long time.
We're not-
good grader.
Yeah, we're about pulling it out now, that's for sure.
We just,
Yeah,
we don't have.
we want it to grow.
Hopefully we're good for the next 4 or 5 years on greater,
We want
maybe longer than that, hopefully. Last one was-
Tires on it,
Yeah.
I mean, if there was something serious that broke down, that's what this is for, or if we. Or at some point in time, we need a new grader, hopefully that'll get big enough. to
I'm
help us.
ready today, we can't touch it, no.
Whatever.
That's all
We're a little bit there.
So.
So we're not in that, we don't have any intention of pulling it out.
No.
So- You got 120 total. You got like half of it's in there for 1 year guaranteed, the rest is all short term. If you put a chunk of it that's guaranteed for like 5 years. And I'm saying like 30 or 40,000. Then if interest rates do drop over the next couple of years, we go into recession, you've still got some that's gonna do it. You still got a good chunk that's shorter term and safer, and you can still roll 1 CDs, and that's. Where I say that, and I also. Like I was talking about. If you kept it in the money market for 5 years, I'd make more money than if you buy a 5 year CD. But I still think a 5 year CD is a better bet for a portion to hedge your bets.
As a insurance policy.
Yeah, like
We're still low risk on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still no risk. You can hold it.
See, the money market could drop.
Yeah.
Right.
And if rates go up, that's still all right because you still got a big chunk short term, and it's just reducing the
Yeah,
overall.
you gotta protect it, we can't just, you know.
We have till next spring to make that decision. Is it May, what is it?
So the money market is right there right now, and it's in the money market 56 days. You can do as
Oh,
the
that
CD
could be anytime.
anytime.
Okay,
It could be this week, next month,
Yeah.
whatever. It's, you know, it's not a huge deal, but, you know. If,
yeah, the stock market has really jumped up and down now.
well,
Oh, yeah.
and
All of it lost.
the rates are gonna be less volatile unless something really, really big happens. Like when Lehman announced its bankruptcy in 2008, that slash rates 2%. Boom. Couldn't predict that, didn't know that, you know? COVID it started it, but it still happened fairly quickly, but it was over a few months, you know? But we don't think anything's gonna happen. You never,
Never know.
so
It depends what you hear on TV.
yeah, I take everything on the TV with a grain of
Oh,
salt.
I know.
Any questions on?
But, coming back to the library one now,
Okay,
so it's really, you can't, I mean, if you wanna have money every year on it. So it has to stay in the money market, right?
well, no, we have mutual funds. Normally, if you wanna say take 3,000 a year out, you put 3,000 in the money market and use that as your source. And then we replenish it over the course of the year, so it's,
You just set an income from our dividends, right?
yes, you can do that way.
Without any.
Without any,
Without
without
No,
any,
don't
right,
charge
that's like the base, that's kind of what we've been talking
And
about.
whether you do it once a year or on a monthly basis or whatever, we can set it up however you want. Just have the checking account, the hard part is getting the checking account linked and getting all the signers. That stuff is a pain.
So you,
That doesn't deplete the principal at all,
No.
that's
it's
money
the
that is
interest.
already, yeah, exactly, of course.
Now, the other part of this is, if you think that's what you're planning on doing going forward. This account was not set up as that as a primary purpose of it. So there may be potentials to increase the interest and dividends on a yearly basis. Without changing it to make up too much, just as that's the preference, generate a little more income to still not touch the principal.
Cause yeah, I mean, our whole, I'm new to the library board and coming from people like naivety about it all. I didn't really understand why like an endowment was set up to be like. Money making versus like able to be used for any benefit of the library. We're unable to touch any of those funds as it currently is set up. And obviously we want it to be there, we want it, you know, like we want to make sure the library exists in perpetuity. But for it to be in these like in a very high risk situation and not be drawing any of the income from it, it seems like if someone like donated money to the library, I would assume they would want, like, we shouldn't just be spending tax funds.
So what are you
If we
saying?
have all this money sitting here.
What are you saying is the primary reason?
Well, it's set up primarily as like a regular investment portfolio for a person to grow over time. It wasn't set up as income as a primary source.
Well,
Right, but
I'm
never.
saying income should be, I'm not saying income should be the primary source, I think it should be looked at more like the general fund is. Or what did you call the other fund? The greater fund, where it's there to make sure the library is okay, you know, but it's not necessarily. There to make sure it's making money on itself, and like it just seems like a strange fit. And I'm not saying we have to change any of this, if we can draw income from it, that's really all
So
we want at this point.
there's a lot of other nonprofits that have endowment or investment accounts. And the conversation is always what you need for the money. Are there any restrictions on what you can or can't do with the money? And what's your time frame? Generally, the investment accounts are set up that way to over time to have growth and keep up with inflation and provide for the future. But some other nonprofits want it more for income now, so we make an adjustment where you take some off the growth side and you put more on the income side so that you can use it. In 20 years, you'll have a little less money, but you'll have good cash flow bit in there. Or you can,
We're also not technically a nonprofit as of right now, we're just, so I don't think we have any rules on anything, because we're just part of the town. As it is
so
right
the
now.
town,
No.
this is part of the town account, so it still goes to the. If there's a profit from it, the town, whatever as to, oh,
501, whatever, they have to be
Well,
501.
what's the town, the town, is
I mean,
municipality.
that would be-
yeah, but
Yeah,
you-
but,
you- doesn't, didn't file taxes or anything?
Oh, no,
We don't.
No.
Wow, I wanna be a town.
So we get back to the grading fund, is what, just let you know what we do with the grading fund, every time the grader goes out, the $75 an hour goes to the grading fund every year per hour. And that's how we're building that rush fund for a new grader down the road.
Yeah.
So if they had it that we need a new grader, well, we got 122,000 right now, we can get it anytime.
Yeah.
To buy the new grader down the road if you know. Instead of coming to the taxpayers and say, hey,
Right.
you know, it's not, so that's what we're doing with that.
We're in a position currently, the reason we're here, you know, is like, we're in a position currently, like, we wanna give our librarian a raise. You know, and there's like not money in the budget, or, and it's like, wait, why are we held to this tax fund budget? When there's all of this money.
That's why I'm saying, what was the purpose of it right along, because, yes, it was, no, that's
Back
but
what,
it's never
20
been used.
50 years ago,
Back,
60
I mean,
years, 100 years
Yeah,
ago.
so, you know,
They probably
first
would
back
know
in my memory, you know, to the late seventies,
Mhm.
the library. Investments used to pretty much fund the library.
It's funny, everything.
The library used to put a request for $1,500 a year from the town, that's it. And everything else was from the investments. And there was a period of time where and there was the trustees that were taking care of all that, and there was a period of time where the trustees would become a little. Less functional or whatever, and the investments weren't doing very much, it kind of got turned over to the Selectboard. And because the investments were not yielding much,
So then that's when
we,
that's where that money.
the general fund is what has been funding the library for years and years and years. And we didn't have a goal of restricting that money, but we had I guess, an overarching goal of letting that build. So that someday it might be able to fund the library, if the library needs
Yeah.
a big something, there's something there to do it with.
So we'll go back to
yeah, I
Richard
don't-
Shoulder,
And-
when Richard Shoulder was a trustee, he came to us, hey, let's fix, we have a lot of moisture downstairs, and we had a. So some of that money got taken out of that fund
To
to
repair.
repair the whole
Yeah.
downstairs and all that, so that's where the money, you didn't pay the taxpayer back then.
Right.
Yeah, but
For us, like, we like the taxpayer buy-in to the library, you know, that makes it the taxpayer's library. I'm not looking to like change that structure, but, you know, I think the library is at this interesting precipice where we are like more functional. We're doing more, it's like a real thing, I don't think it.
then we have a board of trustees now.
Right, and
Imagine that.
it can, and I don't think it can exist on the budget for the tax, you know, the taxpayer budget. As we want it to and as I think it can. And like, but that's why it's kind of like, well. Let's like look at this, cause we just got this whole new, we had $25,000 just donated to the libraries. So it's like, okay, there's more money. So like, we're okay money wise, you know, it just seems silly to be given on canned beans when we're like,
And we also want to
Okay.
try to invest some of that.
right, and
So
so
that
then know
makes
what to
sense.
do with that.
If
No, I hear.
most nonprofits don't have a town component to them. Cause right now, everything in that account is theirs,
Mhm.
their decision to decide, I mean,
It has been for a
Yeah.
long, but now.
now, it can.
It's fun, we're
That-
together.
if-
All good.
There's a 501(c)(3) or anything?
No, we're nothing.
It's the.
We don't, we
owned by
have
the
a
town.
bank account.
It's a municipal
But
library.
you're still out there.
No, but
Okay,
There's a
I just-
museum,
working on
museum.
that, working on it.
is that the game plan down the road is to
I think the long-term goal, as I understand it from you guys, is to have to be a Friends of the Library nonprofit.
nonprofit, then you can have your own
That's-
accounts.
But that's like,
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
like,
but
that would
so.
be nice.
so.
Yeah.
But they'll kind of treat this account that way, at least. For now.
Yeah, so we're trying to, I guess, from the select board, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're looking to transfer some of that. I don't know, responsibility is the right word, but to say so to speak, to the trustees,
Well,
to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then I guess my you know, when we talked about, had the town not been willing to take over the funding of the library back. When we did forward, I'd said, hey, look, you know, we can.
To the trustees on the.
We could have just said, well, close that thing and it'll be done away.
Well, we kept it going.
But we kept it going for quite a few years, fully funded by taxpayers and not using any of that money, letting it grow. And I guess just my opinion, I would hope that that money doesn't all get depleted because who knows in a few years.
So I think, I think you
Like,
hear.
we're talking about like.
I think you hear.
It's not, it's like, no.
I'm not saying that as a worry,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's kind of neat that it's kind of neat that there's some money there that's. Gonna generate some.
I think the year that we did that work. After we did all of that work, I think it was like 46,000 left and look how much it grew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, and that's what I'm saying. I'm actually not even necessarily looking at this going like this needs to change. I just want to drop dividends.
Yeah, then you can do. you
That's
can
it.
do a-
That's all I want. Cause that 2,000, that
Yeah,
is
you
like
can do-
huge for us.
Yeah, you can do a tax, like a tax flow at the end of the year with a
We
1
would
month.
for an account to put it into, that's then like,
Yeah,
somewhat
and
accessible.
you can have it either be an account within the account. Or have a outside checking account or something where it can go to. I don't know if you guys have one. However you wanna set it up, we'll set it up. It's just a question of.
The thing is, it could always come to the general funds and I just transfer it to them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can book for it.
So we can use that account.
One lump sum, yeah. A year, what you,
Wanna go once a year?
I think it would be good, well, once we know what their budget is on the following year, then we could. Go with the amount that we should withdraw and we just, go from there.
So.
So our budget usually starts in November, this is when we started to think about our budget for next year.
Yeah.
So then that's where we can.
we can figure out.
Figure out,
what would be
yeah.
useful and,
Yeah,
yeah.
And Dan, the reason for this is because they have these questions and the select board still has control, so. We're just trying to
Yeah.
figure out how it could work.
Yeah.
So it's a bigger discussion than
Now.
what's
yeah.
happening right now.
One of the other things, cause like you guys have control, you can always place one of them as an authorized account holder, but then they're authorized account holders on all your accounts here.
Yeah,
You know,
we're.
which is not,
We're just like, I mean, I'm not against the town still being a big part of this because, yeah, we're not always gonna.
But we already have an infrastructure to do that, right? I mean, so if you guys request something in the budget.
Yeah.
We are.
Right, exactly, and like you were
If it-
saying though, that like the rescue of that kept it afloat, that could happen. Like, if you can't scrounge together 4 interested people for a few years, you'd wanna make sure that the town again like keeps it afloat, and there's. It's just. I'd like to use some money, five interested. Seven interested.
so, just to,
Okay, I'm just the one.
some of the other questions are. You can talk with me with any questions you want on the money with your permission, I may have to get it. Authorize you to speak on, it's your privacy, so if you're not an authorized account holder, but you're a public entity, so I don't.
right.
But anyway, any questions? You can add 25,000 into the account. So right now you've got 70 roughly percent stocks and 25% bonds. And let's say you don't like how aggressive that is. You can take the 25,000, just buy CDs or something with it, and it doesn't really cost you anything. And then it'll put you more at 50-50. And that can be a process. And then it gives you, and just the 25K, if you're doing 4% interest, that's $1,000 a year. You're getting from that. I mean, between,
Without depleting it.
yeah,
Without touch,
yeah. So. This is about
and
it.
we could always add 25,000 more.
Yeah.
Because we just got.
So right now it's sitting in the money, it's in that general fund, right?
Yeah, special fund.
Yeah, perfect.
So, yeah. So we're kind of in discussion,
Yeah,
as
it'd be great to do
with
it.
the new board of trustees and the select board, we'll come up with some kind of memorandum of understanding or put this way, how we want to solve it. And if this is great, some place, it's educational for all of us.
Yep.
And good, it's all good.
Yeah.
News like this,
It is.
it's nice to have money.
Questions?
Did you answer all the questions on your sheet?
Well, with the paper mark itself answers a lot of.
Yeah.
Because that's what about.
Yeah. So like,
That's pretty much, yeah. And if we have any questions, like I said, right now.
you got the reports in here and what costs, but like I said. No money to link a bank account, we don't charge for any of that stuff that's included in what we pay us all year. And yeah. So.
Cool.
Okay,
Good, thank you.
Well, yeah, very much.
Have a great
it's
day.
not even dark yet.
I know.
Thank you. I have a question.
Oh, you want me?
Yeah.
No.
Hi.
So because I don't know how it works, so we have the budget is set for the year. We have that money that's now in a special account. If we were to do, like, that money was obviously not, it didn't exist when the budget was set. So what are the, like, can we use that? Okay, so.
Your money.
Can we give the library a raise out of that then,
Yeah.
for this year?
Out of what?
Yeah, you can.
Out of the 25,000, and so
Yeah, you
we
can
can
do that.
just change the budget line.
Things around there.
So that we
Yeah,
can
it's
just
like
get
this
that
year,
done.
whatever was budget, it's, let's say we didn't know that all the trustees and all that was going on, but yes, if you need extra money, you could use out of that fund.
Yeah, I mean, you could.
So we
you
can
have
do that
anything.
postage line item and her.
Yeah.
Cause we really wanna do that, we don't wanna wait till the next budget to give her a
No,
raise.
no, that's too long. That's too
So
far.
I think the answer would probably be to like, use that for now and then put it in.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So did you wanna talk to us about the memorandum or?
Well,
For now.
you see, did
We
we,
really haven't.
I had read some that we got a while ago.
Mhm.
And there was one of them that I really
We
liked.
heard feedback that you like Southburg.
I can't remember what the name is.
I. You know, that.
There was one of them that I thought was really,
The Richmond one is much simpler. More to the point, where this one just goes into some of the other.
You can ask.
Did we have that in the-
You don't have copies of all of them,
No,
yeah?
I've got pronounced.
No, you got it in the emails.
Okay.
Um,
I read those.
This was the South Burlington one, if this looks familiar to it all.
Yeah.
Is that, someone I feel like.
Jen, does sound good. But this one, the one from Richmond, as I was reading it over, it just seems so much simpler and if you
Yeah.
go back and maybe take.
I thought it was one of the smaller towns that I really thought was very pertinent.
Yes,
That makes-
versus
It's a-
South Burlington, yeah, I know Richmond's big enough too, but, yeah, if you got a copy.
At home.
Yeah, okay, so read that one over again, because we have to do our own wording and get it to you, so we'll be doing that.
We have it, we can discuss that like officially at our next.
And also,
meeting.
we were talking about getting a debit card for the library. So that way we would, there would be money in there. For just our purposes, but still, like Lisa and I were talking about today. That I could still give her the receipts and everything, so she knows what's coming out of that, but at least we would have our own debit, we wouldn't have to worry about the limitation on the debit that we have here. For the town.
It would be a credit card like what we have right now, a limit of it and a certain amount,
You replenish it to a certain
Yes.
level.
Mhm.
as long as they give me, you know, like the
Yeah,
invoice,
as long as all the
they
receipts.
sign off on it and. And I mean, it goes with the budget anyway, what they have to spend on it too, so.
Cause I don't,
Just takes out, they'll.
I don't like to give out the numbers or copies of the card to anybody,
No.
so this way they would be responsible for their own.
Get some protection of having, I don't know what amount to put on there as the max.
I think we were thinking 1,000, weren't we?
1,000 is 500 if there isn't go
Not quite far enough for.
far enough sometimes.
Should give that a try and see how it works, right? I mean. If you feel like that's adequate, and if not, then we can have another conversation.
Okay. So now it's just to.
We need a
Stop.
motion on that?
Yeah, you should.
We
It
will.
has to be in the minutes, I think, to get the card.
Yeah,
But we have to decide like whose name's gonna be on the card, we may have to decide and,
well, we could make a motion to approve it,
yeah.
and then
You guys.
the details can be figured out. Who's
Between
gonna
them,
be signatories.
But I will still be on that account, so
Yeah.
I could do my bookkeeping and then, you know,
The receipt.
they're gonna be responsible to. Do the purchase.
So would it be, would the motion be that we're authorizing the library to have a debit card? And we say the maximum, well, with the maximum of the $1,000, is that what we're saying? But that would be replenished
Right,
when it's too low.
just like we do our current debit card.
Yeah.
And then you see the reconciliations and the expenses that were involved with it.
But there was-
So they have to stay within their budget.
Well, but they have to follow the budget, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's just ease of moving on certain purchases.
Yeah,
Right, so they don't have to come here, they
That
can
sounds-
order at the library and.
okay.
And I'll make a motion that we, have the library board of trustees have, debit card. For $1,000 limit.
And I'll second that.
Any other questions?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Right,
Aye.
Any opposed? Guys.
And you have a copy of their new phone policy in your packet. You hadn't seen that,
Any phone policies?
just right, rather.
so we'll be posting those on the on the website.
Right, you want to get on the website, it's gonna be, don't use that, so somebody.
Phone policy.
All right.
Okay.
Simple.
Sounds very straightforward.
It's precipitated by an accident.
Exactly.
It's good to have Jennifer have specific things that we can like do.
She found
Sure.
something
You know.
to do. She wouldn't want something in writing.
Right, no, so that we should feel empowered to make a decision.
Right.
Like, no, I can't let you use this. You
So
know,
so
like-
everybody, when they come in to use the phone, you say, wait a minute, let me get my policy
Right,
and
right, exactly. But I get it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so is this for us to act on or just you, is it?
No,
for
we're
our
just-
information?
Good for you guys.
Yeah, we've already approved it and,
Yeah.
our policies.
It's for our,
We're gonna send you their policies as a courtesy, so you could read through
Yeah.
it.
that's what I thought, but I just.
No action.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, do we have the new phones yet? No, we're not yet, they're not here yet.
We're doing that work.
Did
So-
Dennis come today?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
so just so you know too, did you bring up the new phone system at the meeting?
No, I
So
don't know
there-
that much about it.
There will be a new phone system that the town is getting in, it will include the library. So, Jennifer will have to do some training with us for that. So what will happen is they'll call a central number and then we transfer it to the library. That would be push 5 if you want the library, you know how
Yeah,
those work.
yeah.
And then they'll be able to have a answering system through that. So it will save the town quite a bit of money.
You said that's going to be not for a couple months, so.
We're working on it now, so the phones could arrive anytime, I think in the next few weeks. So we'll be getting that set up.
All right. Very good. Anything else for the library? No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Pass that on to the rest of the trustees too.
You're welcome. Great.
You're welcome to stay.
No, I
It's
don't.
really exciting,
Paying, so my kids are being watched by like my stepmother in right now, so I'm gonna go.
Oh, my.
They're great, it was just sort of a like. There you go.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to move up to some more comfortable seats, or maybe you'd like to see Jared. Okay, next thing. On the agenda is update on proposals, water project. Sign change of authorized representative form.
We're at 7.
7.
Oh, I skipped one, sorry, F. Discuss legal trail ordinance and. Did we get final from the attorneys?
Yes, yeah, it was emailed.
Packet. And I put a copy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you change anything substance?
I think they simplified it.
I read it.
Yeah.
Simplified it, that's for sure.
Okay,
So I guess
so
we're on the.
I didn't feel like there was any substantive change to what I looked at.
that was my impression.
They cleaned it up, they.
They cleaned it up a lot.
I cleaned up.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any comments on this? We've worked on it quite a bit last meeting. And if nothing has really changed, intent or whatever. All we have to do is. What's the process? We
already approved it
already approved it.
last meeting.
I would think approve the new version of it.
The latest version.
And then we'll start the ordinance process. So, we have not sent this to the property owners on the class 4 roads or legal trails yet, so I wanted to make sure it was the final
Mhm.
version before the public hearings start. So if everybody's okay with it, then that would be the next thing, and then we'll have to, go through the ordinance process. So we'll see the timing, but it could be that the first public hearing is next month at your select board meeting. But we'll have to see the timing of when the ads have to be placed and everything.
I think it looks good. The draft is
Did they
cleaned
put
up
up the
and
sheet due for the permit?
Hmm.
I didn't see that sheet.
I did send
That's-
him
that's
that,
it,
but
that's-
he did not send it back with anything.
Yeah, so that one there was with the contractor is gonna be taken out, and that it.
That,
contractor's signature.
that we can adjust that
Yeah.
as needed. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
We can
not the
clean that
ordinance, that's
as
right.
needed, Yeah.
yeah.
Wait,
That could be.
Yeah, we did fix those, and you got a copy of that before it went to
Yeah.
the lawyer.
Anybody else got any comments on this before we?
No, I could check with Ellen if she got this was the improvement and she didn't have any people that she couldn't be.
I'll make a motion that we accept this. Legal trail. And,
second motion.
Okay, a motion and a second to accept the. Town of Westfield Class 4 Highway Illegal Trail Ordinance. Any more comments? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Right?
Aye.
The ayes have it, unanimous. Okay. Number 8, update on proposed wastewater project, sign change of authorized representative form. Is that from their end? They have a change, but do we have a change?
No, Lisa isn't on there, so she wants to be on there. So we have to have a form to get her on there. To be able to sign the reports.
That's for that culvert up there on the hill.
No,
No,
wastewater.
wastewater.
Project. Okay. Is there a,
That's what's the procedure.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna ask, is there a form?
Yeah.
So then it would be just the. Who else is signatory on that now? Select board, so.
Let me just look at it. Getting confused here.
Is there anything else on the maybe with the here, or I didn't see anything that looked like I had any interest in?
You're not interested in this?
Well,
stuff?
We did talk about today.
I
You
don't think
We can
so,
bring that up
but
now.
want me to? Thank you. You all set, Jake?
yeah,
Okay, I went for right up here and saw the mess, of course. There's nothing we can do. I mean, it does bring up bears and raccoons and
I went up this week.
they've been chewing those oil barrel buckets.
So-
Is that vehicle in there registered, the trailer?
the big trailer,
I've been there.
he uses that for his sugar and hauling stuff around its ag.
I don't think that's.
That big
We're not, he
If
wasn't
the-
hope that.
Yeah, if the mess was cleaned up, I don't think it would be.
Yeah, if that was cleaned out, it'd be better. Trailer would be okay.
Well, I know it's not the owner that's doing this.
The only,
But it's the owner's responsibility, because it's their land.
Yeah,
and we know we're doing it.
yeah, so,
So the section for zoning, it's section 501 performance standards. At E. See, no use under normal circumstances shall cause or result in liquid or solid waste or refuse which cannot be disposed of by available methods without undue burden to municipal or public disposal facilities.
that
So
can be.
that can be, really disposable stuff.
Can be.
So the only things that cannot be disposed of, which pollute surface or groundwater, or which is otherwise detrimental to public health, safety, or welfare.
Yeah, we got a lot of oil there, drinkable oil.
Vegetable oil,
But are the critters gonna cause an issue? You know what I mean?
It's a nuisance type of a thing.
Yeah, but is it is it to the level of public safety or health?
I don't think so.
Depends
It's
on
just,
what
it's just
animals
a,
are over there.
Right, there's a rabid bear there,
Then it-
potentially, yes.
that's what I'm
Yes.
thinking, or raccoons. They can be more dangerous than the bear.
Yeah.
And bears don't
Yeah.
normally get rabid.
Yeah.
The
If it-
small critters do.
If it is just a bear knocking stuff over and looking,
Well, they're knocking them over, that's for sure.
you know, Fish and
Couple
Game
of-
doesn't like that either, so.
Well,
Um,
Yeah, I haven't.
were
come
you able
across-
to talk?
I,
You've been busy, I know.
well, I said if I come across them guys, I'll talk to them, but it hasn't happened.
No, me neither. I haven't talked to, seen either one of them.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just, is,
I don't know either of them.
is the landowner aware of this, that's the key.
Neighborly sort of
I want
thing.
to get the paint team down the road.
I wonder if a letter from the select board to the landowner saying we're getting complaints, so. Disposal.
Disposal of
Disposal of-
the vegetable oil and all that, and you got all that.
It could come from both, from the zoning administrator and the select board. As far as
That might make something happen, I don't know.
Maybe
Not,
just,
Don't worry about the trailer, more worry about
Yeah,
the stuff.
trailers, at least in my worries, because people rent trailers and stuff like that, and they're not registered, they're not. Storage trailers,
Well, this is a,
I know it's a.
Big dump trailer, right?
trailer.
yeah,
Big
like
dump
Mark trailer.
It's parked there, and like you said, it's ag, it's usually for storage, but the other stuff,
I just wondered if he was aware of it.
if he gets a letter, he.
Well, I'm sure he's aware of it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know yet,
Mhm.
so, we're working on something else, but now, we're working on that. And,
It's just adding Lisa as a designated
Okay.
person to be able to fill out reports.
okay,
Bottom 3 lines here.
Yep.
Here.
so someone, nothing else for that?
I'll make a motion.
To add Lisa,
Lisa to the wastewater.
I second the motion. This is a deal breaker.
All in favor?
Dennis, was it Dennis?
Should all be, I think.
Bottom 3 lines?
Dennis was not on it because he was saying there was,
Jake and
Richard.
I thought that
Does it-
only one, I thought it was only one signature. You want me to
Sure,
do the
yeah.
bond?
Yeah, well, yes, but we're making a change, all three of us are making a change, so I think if we.
Right, yeah, I think you should all sign it.
Yeah, sure, let's see, sign it up here.
Did you, I didn't see that email, Lisa.
Well, it's just that he was saying that, Lisa, you're not.
So, just a basic letter, just.
not threatened.
No.
Just a, you know, informational, I feel fine to sign on to that.
To the letter from him, yeah.
Oh, for the up here?
Yeah.
So.
I'm shocked that
And what is the letter for?
It's
The oil or the,
all of it.
Trash.
Not the trash,
Oil.
the trash. You know, I don't know if we should say oil and trash, but it's just trash a lot of times.
Yeah.
I drove by that the other day.
Yeah, I'm pretty disturbed. People that live up there don't want to see that when they drive home, that's for sure.
So, let me see, did we have that down there? We didn't put that in another business.
Yeah, we put that on the.
We actually, but we can deal with it right now, so. So it would be, proper to make a motion to say that the select board will send a letter to Dennis Papelon. To, advise him that we've had some complaints and we. I don't know, we noticed that there's a lot of trash up there. Oil pails.
And it's not respectable.
And it needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah.
See what
Okay,
happens.
I'll make a motion that we do send a letter to Dennis Babylon, the owner of the property.
Is
This.
he the only owner of the property or?
I think so.
Vegetable oil, not oil.
It's vegetable oil,
I know,
it's vegetable oil, yeah,
it's oil case.
it's oil,
Oil is oil.
Well, it's probably.
and also trash, there's
Yeah,
coolers
I'll
and,
second that.
okay,
It is just that, there's no one else on that.
okay. Yeah, okay, all in favor, say aye.
Like,
Any opposed? Yeah, I have it.
and is Will gonna be on the letter too?
sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
All three of us
Yes.
and will.
Yes,
Anybody else want to go?
No.
Comfortable working on it? How about?
Okay,
Yeah, I know, that's why I'm here.
that's right. There you go.
But Dennis Newman was concerned, so I figured we better do a little something and.
course.
Yeah.
Go about
And
it.
it's gotten worse. I think it's gotten
I
worse.
think it
rather than better,
has.
So,
It has.
okay, so, number 9, approve local emergency management plan.
Still in the works.
Okay, so we'll just pass over that one then.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Bob.
Pat, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment though, if it does get worse or with a health issue. You can include my name.
Absolutely. Well, we could actually put it on now if you want.
Yeah, we should.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, let's,
I'm gonna put town health officer.
Yeah.
Not by
Yeah,
me.
we've been good
So
complaint.
he knows that we're looking.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
we've been good complaint.
okay, wield your power.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so number 10, equalization study results. I bet you're here for that.
Yeah, I read it,
Yeah, me too. A
So,
little hard to understand some places, but
so the letter we received. You have a copy of it?
we had
Yeah,
covered of it.
the letter we received is required by law
Mhm.
because our equalization study, sales study still puts us out of compliance with the reappraisal requirement. We've already contracted with the reappraisal. And so this is some pro forma that is near as I've been able to find out. I talked with our district advisor and her only response was, well, you filed your plan, didn't you? And I said, we filed the contract and we filed a form that they put together for complying with the order. And so we have done that. And so I think it's just
It's a
for your
process.
information,
Yeah.
that we have been ordered to reappraise,
Mhm.
and we already have a plan in place to deal with them.
Yeah, so is it still, I think you had suggested it might not be till 27 before they get to us, do you know if that's still a thing?
Well, the contract we have now starts a year from now,
In 26,
and, well, I guess the contract starts July 1st. And,
This year?
next year.
Yeah, 26.
26, yeah. And it will be finalized, the contract is they have to prepare a final defensible grand list and mail grievance letters for the 2027 grand list.
Mhm.
And when the contract starts, they will, I assume they will follow the same financial rules they did before, that they divide the contract into 12 equal payments, and we have to make a payment each month. For 12 months, so starting in July next year, we'll have to come up with, we got the, I don't think we had 30,000
So far,
I think I put up one call for that every month.
oh, 37, yeah, and what do we have around 20 something in a checking account, we're gonna have over in the account, the reappraisal account?
Yeah.
20
We do have,
something.
so, yeah,
If I
we're
remember.
likely,
21,
yes, and we're likely to come up with a
What
report.
we need.
yeah,
And the other caveat is that, we have to do a, data verification step, I believe they call it. They will send the town listers a list of 20 some odd properties that have to be inspected in detail, and I don't know exactly what that procedure is going to be. And they are going to allow us listers to essentially check our own work, that we can do the surveys of these parcels, submit data in some form to someone, if that's not clear yet how that all works. And if the results of that data verification are good, saying that our grand list, it accurately describes the properties in town, then we proceed with the sales, with the statistical update. If that fails, if we fail that. We're gonna have to go to a full wheel bridge. And. We don't have a commitment from them, but the implied commitment was that it would start in. Probably 27, because they already have a contract with Newport, the reappraised Newport. I'm not sure if it was city or town, but they have a contract to start in 27, and so they would like to piggyback us if it comes to that, have off at the same time. Because the full reappraisal requires a different commitment from the team. And it also requires more finance to be spent, and so if we fail that test, which we're gonna try to prepare ourselves ahead of time so we don't fail. And so that we can, then we'll proceed to the statistical update. So, but I wanted you to see the order, because it's a matter of public record and someone might ask you about it. And the answer seems to be that we are already in compliance with it. That's we notified you, and we have already filed our plan for reimbursement.
Danny, with the CLA of 62.2. That's gonna impact our taxes.
Oh,
quite a bit.
it had a huge impact, because yeah, this is the education tax, it's nobody understands, but the boiling it down, they go through a process to say how much we're spending per pupil. And from that, in comparison with other towns in the state, they have some magic formula that says your education tax rate is X, $1.50. And then you have to divide that by your CLA. So if we're way under 100%, we're 62%. And so we're going to be paying, that number that they calculate based on spending, it's going to be inflated to almost 150%. Last year it was that CLA was doing 75%. And so we're already somewhat accustomed to that whole process, but it's going to be an even bigger hit on our education tax this year.
And so when do
The
you see
the notice will be
July 1st.
July 1st is the usual date of releasing that.
So our next select board meeting, we have to approve the tax rate.
Yay.
The other thing to also think about is our utility amounts. We haven't received all of the amounts for utilities, but what we have received. Their taxes went down, so what they pay us went down, so. That's gonna hit us too, as far as lowering their taxes to the town.
Yeah.
The state changed the rules on that
Really?
process.
Yeah.
They
The legislature set up a new
Set it now.
process, and they told the tax department, you've got to come up with a better way to do it now. Because in the past, it varied town by town, mostly it's whatever the utility says their inventory of poles and stuff is. But it varies from town to town, and they said, we want to have a more uniform procedure. And the result of the uniform procedure is that rural towns are going to see the valuation for the utility equipment in town going to drop. It has always been sort of a theoretical calculation, and they changed the parameters of that theoretical calculation.
So utilities, when we say utilities, is that just the electric company, the telephone company, and the cable companies and everybody?
This procedure was specifically for the electric utilities. And in town, that's VEC and Transco. I think Transco owns the main line that runs up to the J. And they have separate bills, or they have separate values. for each of the owners, or even though the two are owned by the same. Yeah, so that's, that's happening, and this part of that is that the legislature tasked the tax department with coming up with those numbers, the new numbers, and they hired a contractor who looked at every town in the state, every utility in every town in the state, and it came up with a big spreadsheet of, all right, this town owns, in this town, Green Mountain Power owns so much real estate, taxable real estate, and VEC has so much, and straight down the line, town by town. They came up with all of these numbers, and their new procedure tries to get at market value. If VEC was to put their whole system on the market, how much would they be able to sell it for? And they said, well, in small towns, the old method of valuing VEC's property in the town is unrealistic. They could never sell it for that much because it's low users per mile and spread out. And so that's going to hit us with maximum, going to be a reduction of our grand list. Pretty sizable one too. But I think it's $500,000 for.
So that brings up another question in my mind. You know, the money that we had gotten, we
Yeah,
didn't know if that was really our money, or do we need to pay this back, or did we ever get the
Oh,
right?
that on Transco 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Gotta wait
So-
13,000.
Did we
Well,
ever?
it's still in that account because we,
Yeah, we didn't spend it.
the school doesn't know what to do with it.
It's our money.
That's our money.
It's our money. Yes, it's our money.
So,
We could take that.
So they-
Decided to place it because we weren't sure.
Yeah.
to Pay some school tax on it and everything, but I've been setting it, I mean, they reviewed it, but I think it was with you I discussed it, right, that maybe they. Finalized with the state that that's the money that owed us
For taxi.
from the taxes and
Yeah.
the school
Yeah,
was taking care of the other part.
The confusion there was that the utility, I think it was Transco, utility was doing a bunch of work. Most of it was over in Franklin County, but for some reason, they set up a temporary yard holding supplies somewhere in the town of Westfield. Nobody seems to know where but and on as of the tax day, April 1st, they had a big pile of poles or whatever it is in this property in Westfield. And at that time, they would say, well, eventually it's going to be put in Berkshire and all of these other towns, but we don't know how much and where, and so we'll figure it out later. This year, we'll give it all to Westfield.
So this is a non-recurring, that was just at one time.
That's right,
So that money is, you
That.
could. Place it or put it or,
We could use that money for
Our district advisor, Deanna Robitaille, said, it's your money.
we could use that for reappraisal.
For reappraisal.
yeah, we could. So do we leave it and then.
So how much is it? Is it like 17,000?
Yeah. That would help
But
start.
right now, we just put it on our liability report because thinking that we
Might have to
need
pay
to
it.
pay that, but I can take that out.
If the
If you
opinion
don't
was
spend it, I'm not sure where taxpayer or resident approval comes into that, because it's never been part of the budget, trying to understand it. If you're gonna spend it, you need to put it.
That would help your appraisal down the road.
Yeah,
We would have to borrow,
We could
we
put
would
in-
have bring it back to someone.
in our budget, we could ask the voters to approve transferring it to the
Reappraisal.
appraisal account.
We could do that in our budget,
That'd be great.
that new budget.
Yeah, so that's.
Okay, I wondered about that too, because I just heard that the other day in back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, now I've got another thing, I just got an email over the weekend,
is it something better?
something more fun.
Okay.
It's a
Fine, fine.
decision to make, it's relating to LaDonna's request for the tax map preparer to somehow show where the 1,600 foot elevation mark in the zoning was, where it where it applies to individual properties.
Mhm.
In effect, draw a 1,600 foot elevation line on these maps.
Well, there's gonna be some kind of a topo map you can get.
So they can do it. He said, it doesn't make any sense to just draw one line on it. He said we should also include the zoning maps. So in some fashion, and
So it sounds like, there's
So-
gonna be a cost to this.
yeah.
A good-
Oh, it's gonna be more.
Yeah, it's not,
Yeah,
it's not.
So,
very visible.
I don't know, have you?
I got it from Ellen today. That's the
Oh, you
first
did?
time I saw it.
Okay.
So they haven't seen it.
Well, maybe, the reason I bring it up tonight is that we still haven't finalized the tax maps. So there's still time to physically print the maps with some new determination. And I'm not sure who makes the determination of what we put on the map. As far as I'm concerned, the maps are already messy enough. We don't need any more information on the tax map. And he suggested that we do a whole separate map, which is in reality just putting the map from NVDA onto our website, into our GIS.
Does NVDA's map have topo
NVDA
information on
maps,
it?
right?
Well, we'll have a map. We'll get that map from NVDA.
Yeah.
Yeah, does it have the topographical information?
But
It's probably
but
good.
it doesn't have the overlay to the parcels.
Doesn't have, yeah, it
Right.
doesn't have the
The
first.
parcel been on it.
That's always the tricky part because you can't see the outline, so you can't match them up to the parcel exactly.
Yeah.
But
I talked with Will about this and he said, well, as far as in his point of view. Doesn't matter. He doesn't care what's on the map. If someone applies for something and it seems at all questionable. Then the next step will be to ascertain exactly where the elevation.
And somebody, I think the answer is gonna be yes, but you get an app on your phone that tells you the elevation where you are standing. at.
Yeah,
Sure can.
yeah.
Okay, so if somebody
And-
applies for
And that's
something,
within
yeah,
maybe a percent or something like that, but
Sure.
yeah, so that is a resource to be had.
Yeah.
And those around. Well, we gotta talk about that, but I mean, I know it's been,
after I saw the price, I was like, "Mm,
Yeah.
not with that.
Too bad.
Don't we get-
yeah, today, just want you, is that two days?
Yeah. That's how I see it before. So,
Probably not that necessary.
so when Mr. Rossin was here, updating the data to make the new tax maps. He was on an express the interest in somehow being able to relate elevation, which is the only real issue, somehow relate that 1,600 foot elevation line to property values. And the logical thing would be to have a contour map on our map. But he strongly suggested that it includes the full, all the zoning districts be outlined on the map in some fashion. And that's where this is at, right now, is-
So that would include the districts as well,
that's what his recommendation is, that we
so
would,
this price.
in effect, reproduce the NVDA map, and I'm not clear if he really intended to overlay that NVDA map onto a base map of all of the parcels, the parcel data, because that's what we really want. Like I said, as far as a lister, the less stuff we write on the tax maps, the better. But you know, if it's gonna make Ladonna's life easier, or maybe the zoning administrator's life easier, then
That's who would use that.
Yeah, then they could go up there with their phone or even their phone, they can look at it and get the elevation. And how many people is gonna build there? No, next 10 years, 20 years, maybe a dozen, maybe 4.
For the rare occasion, I don't think it's worth the money.
So how many tons
No.
per unit, you know?
Yeah, because we can get that information.
the property.
Does Will, no, is Will from, is he familiar with this, what's he say about it?
Say, no,
Yeah, like you said, Danny said he just would,
Will doesn't care.
Will said.
each incident, you just
Sorry, he's
figure it out.
This is. Just a waste of money.
Okay, that's good.
And also, it would add more controversy. If somebody comes to look in here and looks at this map and says, I disagree with where that is when they weren't even thinking about it.
Yeah,
Then they're gonna be going after the town put up to.
okay,
Both of those projects are owned by big companies anyway, right?
and they already know.
The funds and
One
those,
second.
Yeah, your input is critical here because
It is, yeah.
you're the one who is impacted most by this. So what do you think could happen?
I don't think it's worth the money.
Okay,
That answers that question.
take care of that part.
Okay, good. So it was addressed to Ellen. I assume she'll respond to him.
I think so. I thought today and I
Okay, so I
sent a
will,
message
I
back
will,
to Ellen and I said, I think we should table it for a year and reconsider it maybe next year. Depending on how many questions we get about the mountain district,
Do
which
we
so
have
far
any
has been
questions
none.
and we had grievance day Saturday morning. It was pretty lonely. It was just Scott and I.
Nobody showed up?
Nobody showed up. Nobody called.
Any of the changes.
That means the taxes are all gonna be paid on time.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, there.
it's like dogs.
Yeah. Okay,
I think that's all I have.
that's it for us. Okay.
You don't need me for townhouse. Because I know you didn't bring up the wastewater, but you signed some paper, so is that the authorization?
Yeah, that's all that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess though, we might as well talk about it right now for just a second. In fact, with the communication I had today with Kristen or whatever.
Yeah.
She said that if we want a meeting sooner for the general public, they're willing to do that. Even if it's after hours, it could be an evening meeting, they probably just Zoom in. I'm not sure if we need that, but after seeing Jen's letter, I thought, if we had had a public meeting, a lot of these questions could have been answered because he's not the only one with a question.
No, because we brought that up many times, maybe we should have a meeting before everything will go.
So now the stuff is out, we've asked for it to be returned to 26, which is just around the corner. So
That's been today answering questions.
All day.
to several people or all the same,
No, several people.
So,
and what was the mood or the tone?
Nobody's really complained about it.
Yeah.
They just have a lot of questions.
Sure, because they didn't hear about this until it
Right,
came in the mail, right?
right.
So I mean, maybe it's too late to try to rush it now, but it's certainly gonna have the 30% that she used as a kind of a guidepost there. That's sometime in July is when they want to do a public meeting, right? We might as well maybe just stick with that
Yeah.
at this point. See what we get back for surveys.
So far, we've gotten 3 back, 4 back.
Did you send yours back? Yeah. I haven't
Or
sent
back.
one yet.
Yeah, so I guess I need to send one too.
I need someone to.
Yeah. We're bad.
And speaking of that, are there any volunteers for the 4 town buildings?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't take very long.
well, we can,
Anything wrong?
you know where they are.
I know where the town garage one is because they did a couple right behind the building.
Oh, that's it. Where is it?
My mom was 100%.
They want to know where it comes out of the building, right?
There might be is there a schematic here of where the septic system
Well, I
is?
was
Gotta
thinking
be back
about it the
there.
other day.
I think
But I
this
think
one,
it's-
it goes back down there and they did it pump up there. We have to ask Larry on
They
that.
would have had the people go across the yard.
Maybe they get a tank, maybe they get a pump, I don't know.
I think we could hear it, but I don't know.
I hope not.
I don't know. I don't know. I think they're right there, though. Right?
They would have put it right.
Oh,
You think?
Maybe.
Yeah, let's move on, right?
Because Larry did this 2005, 2007.
You could ask Larry.
It's spelled
So, so the community center, we didn't know for sure, the library, there's a right back
maybe
there.
clean
Yeah.
That's in the very back.
So that won't,
Yeah.
that's.
And do they want to know the location of the tank or do they want to know the location of where it comes out of the building?
We can
They
put a
want
pipe.
both.
Both, but the outlet. Yeah. It's
The outlet's on back.
just put it in line with the, thank you,
Thank you,
Dan.
Dan.
Have a good
Yeah,
night.
thank you.
Yeah, the other one's on back in that.
Yeah, that should be
I
it.
saw
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And that's we can both line by the right.
And these flags are at recycling, so they can
Hand
pick
them
them
out?
up there,
Richard, are you working with?
Yeah, I'm working with that.
so,
Be a, well,
yeah, they're down there.
hand out.
And a copy of the letters down there to refresh your memory.
I'll ask everybody,
So we got two.
if you live in town, do you wanna mark?
They'll ask you, because it says in the letter they can pick them up there.
Yeah.
What people are doing is dropping off the surveys and asking for the flags.
They can drop surveys there too. can they?
The one thing, the question that keeps coming up though is, well, it's making people think of things they don't think, like she said about the maps. Make them think of things they wouldn't have thought.
Exactly.
Is the question is, well, how do I know that my neighbor's septic isn't polluting my
Yeah.
groundwater?
Yeah,
Well, if they're,
That's not-
sound water, it shouldn't be.
that's right, it wouldn't be.
If they have a well or artesian well or spring, then it could contaminate it.
So
I know when I put my system in,
Well, not necessarily, because there was a sewage that was going into the people across the street from you.
But that would have affected that with groundwater, but yeah, it affects everybody enough work down.
It sure affects the
There's-
wastewater.
yeah, I'm talking about your drinking water.
But then drinking water.
You drinking water,
Yeah.
yeah, it will affect the downstream water for sure, yes.
Water.
See, like
Uh,
Gail, did Gail get survey?
Yeah.
People with a
So like her.
springer well here wouldn't have enough room to put the two far enough apart
50 people.
in the
They got
town.
the same system for the.
Cause I had 500 feet away from the spring with my son's house, when I
They
built
got two
it,
tanks there and everything.
and 200 feet from my artesian well,
So I didn't get it back. Just bang it out.
downhill with it,
Okay.
and downhill with it. My sewer system is low, my artesian well is high, still 200 feet away. My son was 500 feet. By groundwater. In the spring. So, it's, we won't be able to do that here, there's not enough land on the
No, there ain't.
block to do it.
You miss us?
I remember it before at home.
Couldn't tell them to remind them, I would have run here.
Okay, I'm gonna give you these
Right,
and you
so,
can fight amongst yourselves.
so we're not going to have an echo.
Well, there's one here,
Town garage is riser, say you said,
yep, right behind that big window
gotta
there,
be in line with the toilet,
yeah,
that's simple enough,
that's very easy.
so we gotta fill this out too?
Yep,
The community center is just that tank right there, that cover. That way you gotta
Okay.
go working, that's all there is, but there,
and if
Yeah, I
you don't
feel
know the
mine.
answer,
I
just
feel that.
oh,
do
it's,
the best you can.
what's that?
There's two, there's one for the propane, and
That-
there's two,
They must have septic there,
The septic that's here is for this community center also.
Yeah, those are
Okay,
tanks
so-
right here.
Yeah, those are the tanks.
Those are the tanks. We never pumped that out.
Yes, we did.
You did?
We pumped it out when they pumped that out.
So how do I do
but
all,
it's separate though, it's not the same system.
No, so this is a different
It's-
system. This is got its own system, Jake.
This pumps up to there.
No,
That's what
no,
he told me.
Further,
way up.
oh, way up.
This system here,
It's just here.
It's got its own leach field,
it's
but
got its own leach field where.
how do I know most of these
Might
questions?
pump over there too. I think it does.
If you don't know the answer, just leave it blank.
There's
I
a,
don't know.
Like,
Yeah,
put it
there-
in
there's a 2,000 gallon tank.
Before the law
and
changed.
did I have a permit?
And the other one's for the
I
juice,
see, just
and
turn
the
the
pump in the
statute,
tank,
do the
the pump in
statute,
that tank, you won't hear it.
where it is in
It
relationship
goes
to the
tank.
building.
Yeah,
I can
this is pump-
try to
I
fill the
never
rest
used that.
still where we put the fire.
Commercial or non-resident property, describe the building use.
Yeah, this system here is better than what we're gonna have.
Okay,
So have
it's a
you-
sketch of the property where it is.
Separate from the.
Okay, well, we
I
got-
guess probably.
We're good with that.
It'd be. Probably confusing to rush one right
Might
now.
not be
We'll see
tomorrow,
what
but
we get for results of
I will get it
that.
done.
Okay,
But there will be one, there will be one.
There will be one in the
Yeah,
lot.
there's gonna be three in their system, in their proposal, there's gonna be one when they're 30% done, one 60% done, and 90% done. And they're gonna,
Yeah, there's two tanks here. Yeah, you know, I looked.
Okay.
Of course, this tank doesn't get meet the law now.
Well, if you need me for anything, just,
okay,
everybody has my phone number.
Anybody get did anybody send a survey to the Rued? But they must have got one.
yes.
I bet we don't get one back.
They must have a big system over there.
Shop.
Well, that's that.
63 of them.
that.
I sent 63 got sent out. Plus all of
Okay, nice.
these,
You too.
does that count all of these?
I think I made 65 copies, so yeah, I think that's kind of the ones that we like handed out.
Wonder what they have their system over
What is it?
Rural edge.
They got a mountain system, it's not big enough,
Where's the numbers is that?
right behind the building, Norm said it
Under the garden?
weren't even big enough when he had 13 residential in there.
It wasn't big.
No,
Really?
that,
And then they got some water tanks too, don't they?
I don't think so, no.
For their water system, I mean, it's on the town water, but.
There is a water
Is it
tank there for their,
For their
Fire?
system.
Fire?
Fire
Fire
system.
system.
Okay, so we're kind of jumping around a little bit.
Okay.
That's all we need to do on that right now, right?
Yep.
We just wait for the service.
Right.
Okay, let's
Have
go
an
back,
executive session about the
Well,
stuff.
yeah, let's go back to 11 for those report. Warrants for May,
I'll make a motion that we approve the warrant for May.
I'm gonna second that motion.
and I agree, so that's
Mhm.
unanimous. Review general and highway fund budget status report.
I got that.
Mhm.
I see Eric's gonna get like 30% left of his money for the, am I wrong on that, or he's still getting? We should have get some money from the. He's got $160 or $170,000 spent this year so far.
Yeah,
And 70% of his money is spent.
yeah.
I didn't know that. We still got about getting sand.
Oh, get all kinds of sand.
Yeah.
I do it all.
We lucked out.
Somebody see that right, when I saw that?
Do it.
Or is the, or is that money not in there yet? For the, we would get that money from the state that.
No, we haven't got that yet. Oh,
Well, we get it quarterly, don't we?
Yeah.
oh, you're looking at the. What are you looking?
Down below, right down below, what we spent so far. It's like 70%. So then we'll put the bottom.
You're looking at, I don't remember seeing that, but it would be in the percentage of.
Yeah,
the
it's
budget
budget,
spent
budget, all the way down.
in that column.
And the total spend as for now, it's 253.
So I'm just looking at that, so.
Yeah, it's 52% right now.
52,
52% of the,
Okay,
much better than 17.
yeah.
Expenses.
It's 70,
so he's pretty much on track.
yeah,
I'm on track right now. I didn't see nothing wrong with this.
no,
There again, it all depends what kind of winter we have when we start. And then hopefully we don't
It
have,
was all like last year.
or anything like that.
Yeah,
review the investment, where I did that, I've done.
Mhm.
So
2024,
my question on the investments is that we didn't really make any decision on anything. Is that gonna be in next month's meeting? You want
Well,
to come back to you?
If it's a change, would be what the library wants to do.
yeah,
And I think everything else is.
It sounds like they want us to be in part of it, well, I don't know, but.
yeah, I think, well, see, we already have a mechanism operating here,
Yeah.
and if they would like to get,
Somebody wanna put some of their money in there and draw some money out.
yeah, they want to get the income.
Yeah.
So I get the income from it, leave the principals right there. That's.
And even that might be a little bit aggressive, I mean, it's gonna be up to them, but
Yeah.
if they. With inflation, the principal, if they leave the principal just as it is, eventually that's worth less because. It's still the same number of dollars, but
Right.
Yeah,
so if they were, but, that's their decision.
yeah, 'cause I remember when we did the shoulder, when we did all that new stuff, it was like 46,000 less than. Now it's up to what we got now.
75.
Yeah, so they grow, they don't grow over time, but
And who knows, maybe. they'll-
I can see their point too, where, a taxpayer, we're not there to make money, but still. It's good to have a little fun there to build.
Well, the thing is, I think what she got it like. I understand what Rebecca was saying, but I think what Karen was saying, we always say that we had that money invested in case something happens at the library, that we could use it as an emergency, that's what. And Rebecca's not seeing it like that, she's seeing it more that we should use that money.
Use it, but she said just the income though.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
income,
Yeah,
like, but
it's a-
she's right, though, it's like, we should probably use the interest like money, so it gives a little bit of income to the
Right.
library. Because now with their grants and all that, that building's gonna be all fixed and we're not gonna use it for anything.
Correct.
that money came back probably 100 years ago, or 150 years ago. I mean,
At the beginning.
that money came from the way back,
Some old, yeah.
from the people that donated the library, the museum.
But it's not really an endowment. She was
No,
calling
it's
it
not
an
set up as an
endowment.
endowment.
It's not an
We're just kinda
endowment.
using it that way, but it's not,
No,
No.
there's no restrictions.
no.
Right,
It's not like an endowment sometimes has restrictions. This doesn't. But you know, that same train of thought could be used for all the money we get for the cemeteries too.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to change anything right now, but at some point in time,
We get some.
there's a lot of money there that's. You know, earning money and we probably could almost pay our. Our expenses for the libraries with that. That's what it was put in.
That's
there
what I was
for.
doing for a while.
But for a while, it wasn't doing anything, that's the same thing, that ended up, it used to be, I don't know what they called it, but, when. Phil Bollier used to be the one that was in charge of
I
the
remember that.
cemeteries. Or that one.
It was a Samson or whatever you called it. I can't remember. You called it something.
Was it Sex, not
Sexton.
Sexton, the Sexton,
It
or
was-
whatever, he took care of the investments and then that,
It paid to make, it paid the
the cost.
the cost
The
of
cost of
mow
operating.
lawn and all that stuff.
well, to me, first thing that needs to happen is he once and for all needs to get those accounts set
Yes, the
up
name.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
We gotta
need
get
to
all those
earn
accounts
him
set
They're gonna be a
that
greater account, because that's.
We can't do that, because it's all calculated as percentage, that's why, the only thing that's confusing right now, because we're seeing the library.
for the greater account.
Yes, but all the other ones I can't, because it's all related to a chunk of money all together and it's separated by percentage.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, but it still probably shouldn't say
But
like.
he's saying, like, separate the accounts, like the library, I moved it completely out of there and do that, and then this one is kinda like. I don't know what the third one we were working on, but he,
well, the cemetery should be separate.
It's
but it's calculated with the grader, that's how it's, everything that you
But
guys did,
eventually
and I
that's-
can't do nothing until like he's, whatever, like next year, I think we
Yeah.
could still start working
Yeah,
on
right.
that.
Mhm.
Because
But
it's like,
when it gets renewed, it needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
What happened is, it didn't get fixed, it
No.
was supposed to get fixed, and
But-
now.
Or now
all the
they get-
extra
well,
work every
it's like
month.
when I got here, everything got renewed and I couldn't do
Oh,
nothing
wow.
for 3 years.
Oh, yeah,
so-
you can see that great money go to the library.
Well, plus it
No,
could be
You never
that
had-
we could use, if we know how much the percentage of the library is, that's the revenue each year from the.
That's what they, I think that's what they want
That
to
should
use.
be,
That part, I think is separated, isn't it,
That's the-
because he gave us two folders,
Yeah.
right, but no, I'm sorry, I said the wrong word, cemetery. If
cemetery.
we know how much the cemetery is, that money could be used to like repair the headstone,
Yeah, we got some
Yeah.
headstone that need to be repaired.
so,
Or some of that income could help pay for the lawn mowing and.
right, the
whatever
perpetual
stuff.
care.
Yeah, perpetual care.
Because that's going up every year more and more and more.
So how that happened though, again, I said it earlier, when we set that up, it was just the library money that was in there.
Yeah, only library.
That's why it got set up that way, and then as we added other things, it still said library.
But yeah, and then everything was
Probably
included,
as
and
much
then
our fault.
what he, I don't know who the person was before, he took all that money, all that
Well,
chunk together.
it
and
happened,
did it
you
by
reckon done
percentage.
Selectboard and get in there, you, Ann and Jake, I think, Eve, I think that's when you
It
guys
was,
started
yeah.
that.
What was his name, Jarvis?
Jarvis,
uh, I can't remember. his
it was
name.
Jarvis,
Yeah.
last thing was Jarvis.
But then there was a lady for a while,
Yeah,
that was our, I forget her name, she moved to Florida or something, and it doesn't matter.
No, we'll fix it.
But I think we can get, at least we get the library separated and then we'll.
Yeah.
I mean, we gotta stay on him because he talks a good story, but then when he gets home, he forgets about all what we talked about.
Yeah.
You know, we used to work with him with the Knights of Columbus and pulled everything out of there, changed it. Yeah. I mean, it's not that he's a bad person, but we were having a hard time communicating.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Well, that's the problem with it too, it's like, once I call, and it's like, it takes a week before it gets.
At least.
back. And
Yeah,
then I,
And
and
you
then
can't get 'em.
get secretary, and then the secretary is like. Whoa, so it's like,
so
but yeah,
we're being recorded, so.
Yeah.
So we probably don't need to make any changes tonight.
No.
Except the, what we talked about for the library, and
Mhm.
that, I don't know what's gonna be the procedure there, is it gonna be? You and the trustees that are gonna set that up to have the income from the library?
No, we got it.
because I all my
Okay.
stuff with them,
Yeah.
for them. Well, I mean, I could have one trust, I don't want all 7 of them
No.
on there.
No.
I'm not sure if. Do any of them need to be on there?
I think that,
Not really.
and I do not, I mean, honestly, personally, I don't want them to start calling him, then we lose
Right.
track
No,
of what's
no,
going
That's
on.
right, so it's better for you, then he'll talk to you.
Right.
And if they start calling, he's gonna say, well, you have to go.
You gotta
through
do,
this."
yeah, I think it should be that way too.
And I think it should be brought up to the select board, like a meeting like we do here, decisions.
Yeah,
And
So right now, we already made, no, we only made a motion for the credit card.
Right,
Okay,
that's all we need.
So,
but they're gonna talk about it to the next meeting.
their meeting.
But I think it's gonna be more next year, like at the next year budget, they wanna think about bringing, because that's the thing that
They
they
have
wanted
money
to
right
do
now.
is to give a raise to the librarian, and it's like they didn't know how come they can't get more money, but they're gonna use it from their special
Yeah.
funds to do that.
yeah, I don't know how big of a raise they're talking about, but it doesn't take long to blow a few $1,000s.
Nope,
Yeah, I think they want to give her $3 an hour raise or something.
and it makes the day. I don't think the extra day really needs, I go by there, I don't see that many cars there when they're open. I know I'm recorded, but I just say it the way it is.
Well, the other thing though is that if it's them spending some of their money and they're seeing that and maybe they might want to say, okay, maybe we don't need that extra day. And we nicer to have it come from them
Yeah,
if they choose, if they think that's not.
So we'll see what their letter of understanding
Yep.
yeah.
comes up with and then make sure those things are covered in there.
Yeah.
Like how that,
Nobody's saying
Interaction
about
with
the
it.
driveway being bigger, I don't think it needs to be bigger, but I think it's perfect the way it
Did
is.
Eric ever come back to?
What you say?
who's quacking over
Oh,
there.
his phone.
Oh.
That's the thing, I asked Eric a couple weeks, last week, and to remind him, but, we're waiting for him to see, that's what it is with this,
Oh, Eric,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he told me, I saw Eric the other day, he told me, I said, we need something on the library.
What I told him we
So
do for
wait.
tonight, but it's like.
The cemetery too.
Well, in the
Yeah.
cemetery, him and Amy's
Oh,
looking again.
yeah.
He's coming.
so we're gonna go through, is he gonna go in?
Well, I don't know, I think so, yeah.
So the other, it's the audit, did you guys review the?
Since I know, but yeah, I did, Eric,
Oh, Eric,
hey,
yeah, I mean, I can't tell you that I read every single page all the way through, but I kind of got the gist of it. I'm talking about the audit right now.
I didn't get a chance to look at it, I'll be honest.
Did either of you from here have any questions about that or any comments? Is there anything that they told us that we're doing wrong?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the big packet,
I'm talking about the big packet.
oh, that big packet, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that big packet, you guys needed to study and come back to me.
Page by page.
But anyway, I think everything is pretty, pretty.
What's that, just a summary?
This is something I need them to return so we could finalize it, so they could send us the paperwork. But actually, no.
Oh, 2
Jake,
pages?
Sorry, no, just Jake,
Oh, just me?
yeah, because you're the chair,
Yeah, hot seat.
and, it's just to say that we approve what they did and, but no,
2 places though.
no, just one, because the other one's me.
Oh. I guess my question I started asking earlier is that. Was there any criticism in there of how we're doing
No.
things?
No, that's what I was
Okay.
telling you, I read most of it last time.
I didn't get a chance to look at mine. Packet.
They said everything, there didn't see no fraud.
My policy.
everything, so,
So, we probably ought to make a motion that we. Approved. We approve, I guess, the audit report.
yes, I can make a motion. That we did approve the audit report for 2024.
Second that.
I'm gonna sign that, right?
yeah, this is actually every item that they did look at and everything's been out there.
Right.
They
So-
didn't see nothing, made nothing fraudulent or
Questionable.
questionable and
So they didn't make any recommendations for change of
no.
our practices.
That's good.
Okay. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Unanimous.
At a time, or just to you.
Man, right on the money.
Perfect timing.
Timing.
I was waiting, I'm like, I think there's a meeting tonight, but I haven't called yet.
And Lisa had. When did you-
No. Did you?
I did Friday. Did you see my nice little text I
He
sent
slept
you?
since then.
Okay, so highway update there, okay, so then A, it says sign Northwest Regional Planning Commission Master Agreement. For a sub-grant amendment, emailed in advance.
So that is because the dates have changed.
Yeah.
So just need a signature.
Anybody on there watching them? Anybody on?
Nope.
No.
I don't have the video, I'm just recording. So just
Just
Jason
share?
will sign it.
I didn't pick up those signs there because they weren't ready.
You have all of
The
it.
signs are ready, but the posts aren't all there,
I know, missing it.
so. Did
She
you
was
go
bringing
down
them
there?
Oh, they know this.
She was bringing them home.
The post, she told me she couldn't fit them in a car.
Yeah, no, she said she could fit that one in there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she told me yeah,
Oh.
that's why. Me and her had already discussed, I was gonna pick everything up from her that was left over.
Well, I'll make a.
They told us,
She did.
no, she did not.
You call her Friday and make sure.
I called down there to make sure they
I'm
could
gonna
fit
head
it
out Friday,
and
Dave.
find out what the address was.
Yeah, no, she already said she was gonna bring everything up.
And I emailed her and she didn't answer,
So
so
we're
I
missing what? Just a
called.
Must be the show.
Yeah.
No, they're the 8 footers.
What you got?
She's got a little Jeep.
Christian,
Yeah.
you got a Casey plate?
Yeah.
Was you break down?
Yeah.
Right, okay, for pickup the trail, you got that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll make another, I'll make another.
Yeah, she was gonna bring those on.
Okay.
Yeah, the order was complete, but it was. He was gonna bring the rest of it on.
Put the sign in down there. Don't hurry in a hurry to put them up.
He would do it tomorrow morning, but they're not here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to schedule it.
That's a good one.
That wasn't my schedule, but oh.
Scheduled for around.
No, you got nothing to do. Okay, so B, sign Orleans County Natural Resources Conservation District Landowner Agreement.
So we'll let him sign this one since your arm's hurting.
Oh, okay, it's not that bad. But you can sign it.
Late order agreement?
Yep,
So that's where I get a sign?
yep.
Okay.
How much am I gonna know?
That's it?
Okay, discuss selling, disposing of used grader tires and sander. You know the number of those tires, the size?
No, not off the top of my head, but
Yeah, we have to just take a picture, if we're gonna put them on,
2017.
They make good manure for the tires.
well, if anything that's got a rim, that's, is it 17-inch rim? Or more, no, that's not
17 wide, 20 inch.
20-inch rim,
I think it's a 20 inch.
yeah. I mean, yeah, there's no weather cracks on them or anything,
There's some splits, but yeah, it's
but still,
certain person.
that's gotta be
I've got,
several plies, how many plies is that?
oh, they are.
They're not that,
No, they
You
are.
get anybody interested? Well, tires or not?
I haven't.
if we put them on Facebook Marketplace,
Yeah,
well.
I mean, we could do the grader,
We-
the sander.
It's under, yeah, so what if, should we ask for those tires? We don't ask.
I've
too much.
sold my loader tires, I've got like 8 loader tires I've been trying to sell. And I've been getting like 50 feet, so that's,
Really?
Those are bigger though, and
yeah, 3-sided.
so what do
I
you
mean, if you
think?
get a couple, not,
Before we get that,
and make it down a spare, a good spare tire.
well, then we, if that's the case, then we don't want to sell it.
I don't need that many.
No, but for,
I've got a spare already,
You do?
yeah, a good spare.
so we could sell all 4 of
You
those.
got a spray in the rim? Well, you got room too?
So we're gonna ask a couple $100 a piece.
I would, yeah.
Or
Start
make an
there.
offer. And then the sander, we talked about maybe $5,000.
I wouldn't go any lower.
We said 55, I think, once, or 55 or 5 down, either
I
way.
talked to Sean about it, Sean Austin, but he's not.
Not interested.
Yeah.
He's still in his office.
I know the Irisburg, is that who that is?
No, that's
I
more.
thought Irisburg was interesting, but we never.
They were looking for one, but they were looking for one for a ton truck.
Okay.
That lady that was here.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were looking for one for a ton truck.
Is that for a 10-wheeler?
no.
No, 6
Six wheeler.
wheels, 7 yard sand.
Yeah, we could start at 55, you can't go up, you can go down.
Speaking of that, those, when I was in there the other day and after the tires were gone. There's some parts of an old sander in there. Is that junk behind the fuel tank against the wall?
Well, is it metal or ore?
Yeah, metal.
Yeah,
That's all trash.
yeah, I've been saving them because it's got a decent motor on them.
Oh, well, if there's some use, I don't get rid of it. Yeah, and the dumpster's full. Anybody know?
Yeah, it's full.
That metal dumpster. Did
I
you
don't
pack
want
it?
it, I packed
Did it
it
pass?
Sunday.
Oh, already?
It's packed and
Okay,
full.
I'll
Yeah,
call
that didn't take
tomorrow.
long, did it?
I packed it Sunday,
No, it was only like 3 weeks.
I
Yeah,
don't even know if it's 3 weeks.
so I load up, 4 pieces of metal on there, on the side, Sunday when I went by,
I'll call tomorrow.
Saturday when I went by, I think, yeah.
Who's
Well,
gonna put it on, can one of you put it on Facebook, because I don't know the particulars
I'm
about
not
it,
that good about
I
that.
don't have Facebook.
can somebody
I
write
do.
it, or?
Can we put it on our Facebook here at town? Yes, we should add it up, add it on that.
Yeah, but I would also put it on Facebook Marketplace.
So that's what you have to do. I don't want on my personal one.
Oh, I see, but you from the town.
We
you
can put it
on-
from the town, but I don't know how to write it.
On the town, I mean, to put on the
Well,
town.
I could,
Well, for writing it.
I've done
just say
some.
Four used grader tires, and the size,
yeah.
What's the size?
that I don't know.
You don't know yet.
But I take a picture of the size of those tires, we'll have to just
And how
go,
about the sander,
Yeah, we'll just take a picture.
yeah, take a picture of it, and then the sander is a 7 yard, you said?
7 yard.
7 yard?
Stainless steel sander,
I'll go take pictures tomorrow morning.
yeah, the tires, you know what they are,
You know, back.
Higher than but it's tender, yes.
yeah, sanded. I don't-
What else about the sander?
I don't know what,
Your tires.
I don't know anything about sand.
What else should we put on the
yeah,
sander?
just down there.
Eric,
Yeah, how do we describe the
Stainless, right, stainless.
Stainless steel,
It's, yeah, there's not much.
what kind is it?
These hydraulics to run,
Yeah.
What is it?
does it have a brand?
Hydraulic?
hydraulically driven,
Is that a Swanson?
yes.
Is
I think
it,
it's a Swanson sand.
okay,
So Swanson, SWANSON?
Sounds right.
Hydro-
I think it's the names on it,
Hydraulically
too.
driven?
Yeah, name John.
Oh, yeah.
Sander,
Side of it.
It's off the truck's hydraulics.
okay.
The one where the sign was, right?
Yeah.
In that bay?
yeah, and it's right behind a big monster television.
Well, they took 7 in the other day,
Yeah.
Sunday.
That big one out there is, I don't think I've
Well,
ever
they've had
seen
one.
That's one of those old ones and it's 5 feet across.
No, well, Roger put 7 in, Sunday morning when I went by, there was
There's a
7
whole
on
bunch of
it.
it.
So Roger put him in Sunday.
Yeah,
I went over and they had one hanging 4 feet out of the Gaylord, I took it out,
yeah, good.
cause they weren't gonna pick up out of there.
They
No,
won't.
I
They
told
left
Warren,
that Gaylord right in there,
I told Warren they won't take it.
so I pulled it out, me and my wife were down there. We picked them up, the other ones got off in it, and we moved that outdoors with the other 6 or 7.
But now they're all standing.
Up against the wall,
While they're standing against the Gaylord of recycling.
they are now,
Yeah.
they put them all in.
I should probably.
Don't move.
The thing is, you know what?
You can move with your arm.
Probably, what I was gonna say is they'll take them if they're on the pallet.
I can bring a pallet home tomorrow.
I'll get some pallets.
I think
it's always
I
asking
won't be
for
able to
pallets,
come
they don't
on
bring it
Monday
to us.
early, and I shouldn't anyway.
But when they come, they don't come tomorrow, do they?
They usually come Thursday or Friday.
So we take care of
I'll
tomorrow.
probably just do it on the pallet tomorrow, it's no big deal.
If you need some pallets, I guess
We need a pallet, for sure.
Yeah.
there's
And we always put pallets down and I write my stuff and they don't bring nothing.
if you come looking for a pallet, in my way back tool shed, you'll see a bunch of syrup barrels in there, and next to it, there's a stack of 7 or 8 pallets that you can take as many as you want.
One's good enough for these, right? We just get them all stacked on one.
Are we doing the stonework tomorrow night or we'll do that Wednesday night? You tell me.
I
I'll help you with the TV, whatever.
think it'll take me a second to do that, so.
Yeah.
I'll get home right away and I can come down in the tractor.
Okay.
I'll do it tomorrow.
I'll go, I can leave work at 4, I'll meet you here for
I've been done work at 3:35, so I should be at my house by a little after 4, I should be down here. 4:30.
Right, 4:30, 45, I'll be
Yeah.
there. We can clean, I'll do the TV too.
We'll finish that up. No rain tomorrow, right?
That's what I was just looking at.
I can wear a rain jacket, I guess.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, 20% chance of rain.
No, we're all set then.
Okay, so, back to
In the
the,
afternoon.
to the top of that culverts thing, anything moved other than. We just signed some stuff related to that, but
Nope.
did the bids go out for that?
Put that big culvert on the hill.
Not that, but the culvert up front.
Oh, yeah, I ended up getting it.
You did?
Yeah.
Were there a lot of bidders?
2 ended up bidding on it, myself and somebody else.
Yes.
Come over about. We were within $3,800.
So who did the bid opening? Whether this guy
State.
the state?
They do.
Yeah, and then they notified you that you knew the.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I already signed the contract. I think we're waiting on them to sign the contract, and as soon as I sign it, then. I'm gonna order parents, basically.
And you said quite a bit of that's gonna be poured in place.
40 yards.
Yeah.
40 yards?
It's not gonna be just getting something that's fabricated, you gotta.
No, he designed it 2 ways, but in the end, the state went with the.
Isn't it quicker to get it that way? Pour it? Precast, you said it would take a long time to get?
No, it's an arch, it's like 6 weeks out.
Oh,
So the arch is gonna come prefab.
No, it's like a multi-plate culvert. Top. Okay, just an arch top.
Yeah, so yes, so that comes made, you know, for.
Yeah. No, right,
Inside.
it's steel panels we gotta put, yeah.
Yeah,
So, you know, like galvanized steel, whatever.
Nice, I think.
so then there's gonna be some headers,
Whatever,
no headers,
well, just so.
yeah. So that, because it's gonna be poured, it's not gonna be something that's gonna go in a day or two, it's gonna take a while, gotta do some footings first.
They'll do footings, yeah, they'll do footings first, but they'll do footings one day, walls the second, and backfill the third.
Yeah,
there's a floor on this thing.
Uh,
There's a concrete floor on this one, right?
No.
There's no, it's gonna be just dirt.
that's what they all wanted to go to now, this native bottom.
Yeah.
So the fishing can go into.
So you're gonna have to lower that or fill, cause you got a pond below it.
Yeah, it's.
That's a pretty good size hole.
You can come up to elevation.
A lot of brookies in there, by the way.
Yeah.
What a what?
A lot of brook trout in there.
Rookies, better go fishing before they.
They'll scurry down.
Okay.
So do we?
A lot of brook trout in
bill
that
for you For that, or do
You
we
won't be
bill
billed
them?
now.
Hmm?
You won't be billed. Everything goes through the state.
Good.
And then, but then wasn't there, didn't we have some,
Well, we got 10%.
There was some in kind basically taking the culvert out.
so that will be. Is that gonna be like, we'll pay you out of our road budget for that part of it? Yeah. So,
But I wait till the project's done and then we'll see what's.
yeah. So it's, I mean, what would you think the time frame is on it?
Completed.
To get started,
I can't make structure for 6 weeks, so. And the state hasn't signed the contract yet, so whenever
so.
they sign the contract, then I can order parts in 6 weeks and then.
How long did it take you to do it?
Shouldn't take much more than a couple weeks, but
So you're looking at the beginning of August, maybe to start.
maybe if my schedule makes it work.
Yeah.
But there are
That's-
times
that's the
getting
best
out of
you
water,
can.
no?
October. 10th. October 10th, that'll work.
It should be tight.
It'd be nice if you're gonna have a little buffer, so you don't have to, rush it at the end, but.
How about closing the road?
No, we open it.
No, there's
Can't
gonna
close
be
it.
a
That's
bypass.
why back.
Can't close it.
There's gonna be a bypass upstream, right?
That is Frank's place. Whatever paper is on.
Yeah, that's
Just
right.
wanna make sure that Casey can get up there.
I have to. with the
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah, well, there's more than just them up there though, right?
Right,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
if the ambulance needs to get up there.
Yes,
There's 3 people both on the play right now, right?
No.
John Porter,
Yeah.
your,
What about the guy just before Lee's camp there, up the hill your father put in?
Leroy?
Ford,
What's his name?
Rondo,
No, before Rondo.
Oh, Bob?
Is it Bob?
Yeah,
He's up there a lot, I know,
No.
no?
uh,
Does it?
Yeah, Bob wasn't doing well this spring.
Wow, I don't know that,
Yeah, he's
So he's not up there.
he wasn't doing well. I don't know.
really.
He was in the hospital. Yeah, he wasn't doing well at all.
You could go that came, asked us to go put electricity up there, didn't I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
I put power up
Yeah, I
there.
remember that.
Okay, got anything else for us?
What are we doing up the road?
What are we?
Yeah, so did you go see that?
I did.
I mean, if it was mulched and seeded good,
Well, the water used to go down
It
off
looks-
the road.
they shaped it so it's not gonna go.
No, but it used to run, now it pushes out the other road. The springtime is really bad, but
Yeah, so what do you think about it? What's your opinion? I just went
I
out
told the guy it needs.
talking about up here, the guy built a new house, now that concrete was pushed in a pile there,
So you didn't.
they
do
buried
that.
it.
You didn't do that.
Oh, I thought you did, it's like
The
this.
supervisor.
No, my brother did it.
No, different.
Your brother did it.
Is that yellow house?
Yeah,
Yeah, to bury that, you mean where the dirt is? That was my brother's truck hauling that.
But it was, originally it was that guy's buddy that came up and dug everything out, threw everything on the other side.
Yeah, but it was all pretty much in the road limit, isn't it? If you go
Yeah.
on both sides,
It is,
so that's a right of way, the town right of way.
it is, that's the other thing, and it's kind of not, but. It's also on his land. All that junk, so. Which is not really their land, because the town right away kind of comes and.
yeah,
Very tight quarters there.
Right,
Yeah.
kind of hits both town right of ways.
It
yeah,
does.
exactly.
It does. But it does, it has been pushing the water out the other side, and I did tell the guy, you know, I wanted it gone a year ago,
Mhm.
and then he just.
Is that Canadian, who comes to recycle?
Massachusetts.
Yeah, that yellow pickup
Kind
there.
of got from Ukraine,
Ukraine.
Something, yeah, some.
got that little, yeah.
But,
Well,
but that-
he's from Ukraine, and he tells me that.
yeah.
Yeah,
So what do you think, so?
I would recommend pulling it out,
Then what? Put rib wrap in there?
and no.
Huh? No, you get put rib wrap in there.
No, it was just natural before, grassed in and everything worked really good. You know,
What did he put in there?
concrete. Demolition.
Some
stuff
broken,
from the-
yeah, all the
Oh, right, I
demolition,
saw that over there.
Yeah,
and then I
It
guess,
was all covered with dirt all of a sudden, or I
Yeah.
thought they took the concrete away. I thought it was you that had done that work.
So
I mean, it looks good driving by.
they did a good job, I mean, the upper road looks okay, and,
Yeah, they didn't damage our roads, I mean, I.
oh, God, no, they did. They did good, work was fine. But it's the point of, I told the guy to get rid of it, you know. Cause it's making water go wherever it wants to go. You know, not in the ditch line, but,
So what's making the water go a different way?
because there used to be a belly in there.
So it
Then
kinda
it
catches
wouldn't
water.
get to, it'd come off all ground and then it'd come off the other way, and there was an actual old road that went up around. That's, if you look probably
Right,
on the
it's a
map,
legal
probably,
trail.
it is.
It's gonna leave a trail.
Yeah,
yeah. Dickie always, when he'd go for a ride years ago, he used to go up through and it's just the old road, so
Yeah.
really that whole center is. Down right.
So they hauled, I didn't know where they were going,
I don't
but,
think they hauled much in there,
quite a few loads.
was there quite a
When you
few?
called me to
Yeah.
see if I could
Yeah.
go check that, they hauled all day the day
Yeah.
before.
Oh,
Larry, not Jerry, what's his name, Jerry Waterman was hauling
To bring stuff up here?
to bury that.
Oh, the very.
I didn't know where he was going, but when I went up and looked.
The only reason I called you is because,
Bev,
yeah, no. A little pissy, but I think her pin's probably underneath that bottom. So if nothing becomes of it, if she wants it moved, she'll have to come down and figure something out.
but they didn't seed it down or anything?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I haven't been,
They
I
should.
wouldn't saw her that.
It's just dirt.
Yeah, it's just dirt, they should seed it down and put basically build a hay on it, and I mean, or if we take it
I
out.
think. There's probably like 3 truckloads of cement.
Yeah, but there's probably 7 truckloads of stuff on top of it.
That's the problem.
They can't.
There was
Oh, they
all-
put some rib wrap
Put a
above
ditch
it.
in it,
Riprap is just.
They can't put a ditch in it or
buried the
anything?
cement.
like so
It's
that
like
it doesn't
topsoil.
roll off the sides.
And it's shaped nicely and everything.
The worst part about it is there's definitely demolition material in there, there's wood in there. It's just, yeah,
So if we were to say, okay, dig it out. That guy down there is not, that paid to have it buried, not very happy.
Mm.
I told one.
He was told.
A year ago.
Yeah,
I know it's me,
And Will's
it's not
talked
you
to him
guys,
too.
and I've been arguing with him with a culvert that he put in that's making water do stuff, he just does what he wants.
yeah.
I just think. that-
So I wonder if, how are we gonna be able to put any teeth to that? If we hire you to haul it out, we probably never get paid by him.
Probably. not.
Okay.
So. I don't know if the way it's set now is gonna cause some problems, with water or with. Pissed off neighbors or
I
whatever.
mean, we used to be able to go down through there, I mean, it comes where you can see it isn't bad, but it goes really close to the road on the lower
Well, I
side.
walked down there,
It's in the trees and,
yeah,
Maybe you should all three go look at it.
Yeah,
I mean, I used to be able to mow it, now
but then they used some of that to kind of this, was that concrete or flat rocks or something they did there? Because it's not all buried.
no.
Now, if you dig it out, would you have to dig it out from the bottom or from the top or some of both?
No, I don't do it from the car. I do it
All from the bottom. Yeah,
but
so that's gonna,
I just don't think it's right that somebody gets to place their stuff on, whether it's the town.
yeah,
property.
you're right.
If he went on. Took stuff from one side of the road and dumped it on your property, it's, you
No.
know,
right, right.
That's right.
and
But so what do you think it's gonna cost to do that? Like $2-3 grand?
what?
Yeah,
3,000 will go far.
yeah, so,
Right. It's gonna be a whole day's work at least.
There'll be a day.
oh yeah, I mean,
Cause they
So-
rolled all day, so, and then it took them a whole nother day to do it.
I didn't see them fixing it, I just went after it. That's when I said, oh, that's why you mentioned the Andrew's truck or something, that's
Well,
what.
yeah, that's it,
Yeah,
you know, truck.
yeah,
I only know one.
Yeah,
But it doesn't matter, it's. Uncle Andrew did what he was asked to do,
that's right, somebody hired him to do
right,
it.
right.
it's I'm not placing blame on anybody other than.
The landlord.
Okay.
Well, people should know. Clearly, you can see that's the town right of way.
Yeah, you don't mess around. Yeah, right over, no.
All those people know not to mess with the town right of way without permission from the road commissioner.
Especially when it's water issue,
And it's clearly
no more
town right of
runoff.
way.
There was probably some riprap, oh, I don't call it riprap,
There's some ditch rock here
on the edge of the road, right? Because
on the lower end, yeah.
I'm talking about the top of the.
No, that was all just grassed in nice and.
Because didn't we years ago have to?
We did a lot for
Further up.
cleaning. We had
Oh,
one,
fire.
Yeah,
There's,
we done some one for us.
we went through FEMA on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that whole road was sliding there.
yeah,
So from the culvert. Up the hill a little bit where the berm starts on the right hand side, from that point on. That was all. Chopped.
yeah. So if we say to go ahead and do it, then that guy's not gonna be very happy, but. But, so how do we, how can we put teeth in that?
Well, we have to do him.
Well, no, they'll see who's calling it out.
No, but we have.
I would-
You need to pay
I would-
to fix it. You need to pay to get it fit.
Talk with them first
Yeah,
and be like, hey, this isn't what you were asked to do.
Yeah.
And
we'll have to go all through this.
if he wants to hire somebody to do it right, I'll stand there all day, I don't care. Or
But
we
it's all right now in the road right of way. You're saying, right? Both and.
because of,
And
there's
if
the
there's,
old road that loops around. And then the two roads, the way they meet, it's, yeah,
and if there's a pin down there, they're gonna find it now.
no.
Oh, man, so fun.
More troubles.
You wanna go talk to everyone,
Yeah, wait
she's
till,
impressed about that camper up there too, by the way.
I'm surprised they haven't
What camper? We
haven't
did a
heard
camper.
about
They
the
do?
road.
All the neighbors.
Oh.
We can't go up there, somebody's living.
Not during the winter. Really?
I'm surprised that people
How do
live.
you keep that?
Year round.
There's one right by the figure house, what's his name, like.
Oh, I got the generator. I was over there yesterday, get some horsemen over. I had that generator running on.
Me, Denny's place.
So where's the
Oh,
store
just
going for
before
that
the
for that?
Really?
Go to my sugar house, just as you.
There's a camper right there.
There's a junk camper there, people have been living in there for about 3
So,
years.
so where's the sewer going?
Good question.
Oh.
That's on.
Same place as the one across the street.
Health officer, that's the health officer there.
So.
I would recommend cleaning.
Huh?
If it's gotta come out of my budget, great, but it's done, but.
Yeah.
You aren't supposed to, I mean, I can come get one phone call to the state and it fix that problem.
So you would call the
You
state.
can't bury demolition.
You can't bury
Well,
concrete, you
that might be a way to start.
can't bury concrete.
That would be the way to start.
Yeah, if he gets
The
a,
burden wouldn't be on us at that point.
yeah,
Can't bury concrete, am I right?
No, I mean, you can bury concrete, but it's gotta be clean, no rebar, you know, no building materials in it, and there was wood all over the place in that pile. Once it's smashed up, it's considered demolition.
Yeah.
So,
uh,
I know it's a touchy one,
yeah,
and I got I went up to you, I called you because I wasn't in town.
Yeah.
And I went up and saw Bev that night, just to hear her concerns.
yeah,
And I said I'd do what I.
yeah. So who would you call at the state?
There,
Somebody?
I'd have to get a number
Yeah,
from Matt Hall,
why don't you do that first?
and maybe
See what they
have
say.
an issue. Yeah, I know what they're gonna say.
They'll
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 have
probably,
his address and they'll probably end up going up and seeing it.
yeah,
And which in the end, it's out of you guys' hands that way.
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
Didn't at one point him alter the stream bed with trees?
well, cut some trees, what's that?
He's been doing some kind.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Not to mention he won't let anybody in the water. And for how many years and years and years has that been the swimming hole?
He can't do that, I mean, he does probably.
He does,
But he doesn't have the right to.
he does,
But he doesn't want nobody to go through his property,
right, so
they
that's
can never
probably.
below,
It's a town
Walk
hall.
up the brook.
walk up the brook.
So why don't you
We'll be
do
going
that?
swimming
You
one
wanna
day.
go that route?
Keep us posted,
Yeah,
still got time this summer to do something.
yeah, I mean, it is, it does push. You wouldn't think it does, it doesn't look like it does, but it does push all the water up below.
Okay.
But it was disappointing.
I'll go look at it, I haven't looked at it, yeah.
It doesn't.
Well, I
look-
see some work going on there, but I didn't realize it was that much.
It doesn't look horrible.
Well, they did it pretty quick, because the
Huh.
day that you called me, they were hauling the day before, and when I went up to. His loader must have, not loader, but his skid steer must have been up there, and they were doing it as they were hauling.
Yeah.
It was all done.
Yeah.
Okay, keep us posted.
Almost wish we could have seen it before, like in the process of it. You know, instead of it being.
Yeah.
So you have come up with a price for the addition for the library?
Yeah, I didn't write it out.
Okay.
Justin been gone, I figured the numbers out. Just focus.
Would you ask the library?
Yeah.
But we're talking about-
You said 4,000,
Yeah.
and the cemetery, 9,000.
Yeah,
Cemetery, you would put
you're gonna mix it,
mix gravel and say that.
That's what I got, right, Eric? Who did that for me? That's good stuff.
So I
Okay.
guess then, what do we say, just go ahead and do that?
yeah, well, there's some, not the
The
library,
library, they need to
they need to
approve it.
take it, they need.
Well, we know, yeah, we need to, let them know.
Tell them the price and then they can say,
Cemetery, yes.
You make the cemetery, you can, yeah, do it.
You want me to send them an email? Lisa,
Yeah,
okay. 4,000,
yeah.
and that would be same
Up to-
at gravel too, or just gravel? Both?
The mix.
That would be a.
Because you guys will use that stay now.
Well. Yeah, a mix makes it better.
It's not as, yeah, I like it better.
mix of what,
Stay mad, right?
bay mat and gravel.
You compact that too.
It's hard.
Careful on those stones in the cemetery, they'll come out, you can't vibrate that. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know about vibrate, but probably could pack it.
Where is that?
Huh?
They won't care.
But no, some of the old stones, you're gonna fall over.
Okay, let me see.
So we need to make a motion for the.
Yeah.
The new road for the cemetery?
The cemetery,
Yeah,
then we
and
should,
so
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we do that for Larry, I mean, Eric does it.
Yeah, I second the motion.
For 9,000, is that 9,000?
Yep.
Yeah, for 9,000.
And where's that money coming out of?
Well, we either come out of the cemetery or come out somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, that's not.
Money.
My road budget,
No,
No. Oh. The cemetery has enough
That's
funds.
a road, you didn't know that was a road?
It's a road, it's a.
No, we'll have,
We'll figure it away,
we'll have to figure that
we'll
out.
figure it out.
I'll ask Dan if we could use it from there. It'll probably go next year though, we could use it.
Oh, you mean for, yeah, I mean, we can do whatever we want, I guess, but we'll see
So
what.
we can get, we also could use some of that 17,000 refurbished back too.
Oh,
Well,
You're
right,
getting
so even the money from, even the money that we got on the, that invested, that money that we put aside. We call that money, rainy day, where's that money?
Unanticipated expense.
unanticipated expense,
Yeah, we got the money there.
yeah, so.
Oh, that's the CD. Oh, I think we're talking about the BT we approved. Yes, that's in the CD too, though.
Yeah. We'll find some
Let's figure it out sometime as we go along here.
road budget first,
Yeah.
you get that.
So,
I'll look into this till next meeting.
so all in favor?
Just gonna look after you.
Aye.
Sure, not at your budget.
It won't come out of really road budget.
Yeah, so the next one, before you leave, Eric.
Yeah.
Number 13, it says update on Merck grant projects and it says propane tank, so
Well, it's because they're installing the furnace thing
there's,
at the garage.
I think you're working there today.
yeah, there,
And he was asking me about the propane tank, if we should connect the other one from
recycling,
recycling to there.
we probably should have just one.
Yeah.
That's just a little tiny tank, but we need a bigger tank than that.
And also, remember Eric, you kind of discussed when Fred came that where you wanted to put it.
Yeah.
So I don't remember where, can
all
you,
back to the building.
Just around the corner?
You gonna put a 500 gallon in there?
No, put a bigger
that's
tank.
another thing I need to know, how many gallons you guys
That
want.
won't be, yeah, that won't be the town's tank either, but I
It doesn't have to be covered and on a slab.
don't believe it does.
It can be underground.
They put it in,
They put it,
they put it in.
They do?
Yeah.
No, they don't.
Well, they're big to you.
They'll bring the tank, but you gotta do the work.
You gotta dig a hole, sit in the hole.
yeah, are we gonna put it in the ground or not?
I put mine in the ground.
It's out of the way.
Yeah.
They bury
Oh,
it.
you
Not so
know,
hideous.
just the
You know
right
what
Mine's
the
buried.
tank-
Derek Berry,
Well,
The center tank?
Yeah.
it's a little tiny
Rainbow
green
flag.
manhole cover.
Oh, there is right?
Yeah, there's a right.
Oh, okay.
So that'd be,
You better get 1,500 one more, but.
yeah,
Yeah, no, there's a rise around.
Okay,
yeah, so. Right around the corner, so that'll be just on the new addition.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
the septic tank is further.
Wait a minute.
and then they could pipe the molding heater, pipe it to the molding heater from there.
So-
Yeah,
That's the question he was asking me, if we're keeping the
No.
other one in recycle, and I'm thinking like we might have a better discount since it's all together.
Put it all together.
Yes.
Just put it all together.
But my other question is, are we going with Fred's, or are we going with?
I think you ought to check in with that.
Fred's is-
Airgas is pretty reasonable.
Fred's is the
Amerigas,
most
I got,
expensive around.
huh?
Fred's is, I think, the most expensive. around.
So.
I think
He
Amerigas,
has
and I'd
served, they say they
say
have served. That's the kicker.
Friends has got a lot of,
Fred's only will service you,
Friends has got a lot of stuff that they have, I've got a tank from Friends and everything, but.
yeah.
No, we're talking about the gas, the full.
Yeah.
If we buy it from Amerigas, we have to get a tank.
You have rent too for the tank, it's $100 a year. But they take care of the tank all the way to the regulator on
Who's
the house.
that?
Amerigas.
So that's, okay, well, with Fred's, you don't pay anything for.
But you also pay a
Well,
dollar.
I still have to make up for how much you're gonna be burning.
Probably. if it's-
But you also
if
pay a
it's-
dollar gallon mortgage.
Different.
You pay a dollar
Yeah.
gallon.
My question is like, how many gallons do you guys think, because then I could probably shop around and see.
500.
But how many gallons a year would we, I don't
They're
know.
gonna come once a month.
Oh, you
Yeah,
got.
they come once a month, Amerigas. does.
Right.
See, this would be more efficient than your
They
oil.
want an estimate of how many gallons a year. We could
Use.
tell them how many gallons of oil we were using and then give them a little bit of a.
Oh, you
Cause last year,
think 300 gallons a month?
That furnace, not even close to efficient,
Yeah, I know.
These new ones will be.
you know, it's, yeah, there's a lot of variables.
so we're gonna use more propane here too for this one. So whoever we get our propane, we need to talk with them because when I pay $1 less with Marigas, we pay for 10 here last week.
Same here,
Why don't you guys just buy the tank?
then
Then you can do what you want.
Right,
It is something to think about, that's what I did. with-
Because I've got one with friends and they play it awful.
and
just
it's
for
coming out of the
generator.
grant,
Man,
What's that?
it's coming out of the grant. Money,
The
so,
tank. Yeah,
I mean, you're responsible for it after that, that's the only problem.
Yeah.
I mean. If they're gonna be cheaper in fuel and they're gonna
then you-
maintain,
Then you can. Price fuel.
shop around every time,
Yeah.
once a year.
I bought oil a month ago,
But you-
$1.39, I mean, propane,
Yeah, but-
$1.39.
they won't fill up unless they inspect your whole entire system.
Yeah, they do, yeah, they have.
If you do Fres or you do, you know, what's the, Mark Nettles one there, Borns,
Borns.
they're gonna inspect everything before they fill up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's gonna be way,
Not
that's a
sure.
pain in the
Some of
butt.
them- I don't think Fred would approve to use another person's.
Well, no, you have to buy it,
No,
you gotta buy it.
No, you gotta buy it, either buy it or get one from Marigas. You gotta buy it.
so if we, talk about trying to save money on it, we've got a tank here, we've got a tank at Community Center, and we'll have a tank over there.
Right.
Would we have some savings and kind of combining it all to the same whoever? But then you get,
Those tanks are gonna be-
you know, those
These
tanks,
tanks, I don't know.
So,
but these guys switch tanks between them.
Right, they'll buy the tank out.
When we first put our tank in, that 500 gallon one, we were with Amerigas, and then we ended up putting a furnace down cellar, a propane furnace. We were having problems on a cold day in December, and they said, it's a gas problem, call your supplier, and I says. I wasn't Fred's, and it was Fred's guys, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna just have the same people do everything. So, they just switch tanks, I mean, they
Yeah,
just switch the
you-
tank, but they.
You'll buy it from them. and-
Yeah, so,
I own my two tanks,
so right now, we're with Fred's for these two tanks? Is that it?
yeah, all three.
All three, no,
Okay, just two so
community
far.
center, it's
I think-
Amerigas,
Oh, it is, okay,
Marigas, community,
yes.
and here,
Here it's not propane, it's oil.
no, we got.
we'll get
Oh,
the
yeah,
fan for the
here.
generator,
Generator,
generator's gonna,
I didn't know we got Marigas
Oh, it
on the,
must be Fred. No, wait, I gotta check that
I
out.
think these were Amerigas when I put them.
You did? I never got a bill for a year.
you pay rent on these tanks?
No, but I mean, for now.
the
with-
generator.
Oh, yeah, okay.
so it's Fred's still
Plus it's
on the,
included in the
we
price.
must own that tank, we must own that tank down.
I thought you bought them at Pick and Shovel or something.
No, they don't. They
No, some
came-
tanks that,
That might have been, that might have been the oil tank.
we must own them two things then.
Yeah, but you know,
I
what
thought.
I'm
it was
saying
Amerigas.
is this was, we never got a bill from this, right? Look, I didn't see no bill for a year for propane.
cause they only probably do it once a year.
Well, we get propane for the generator, I thought we did
Right,
it for
we
here.
already
Yeah.
Had the propane tank
Yeah, but it's Fred's that
There's a
says it
propane
here.
We got a generator,
for the generator.
But we haven't got a bill since we had our heat pumps in and I mean, it should be pretty often.
No, only
These
runs,
pumps are not connected to that, that's electric.
it's for the generator,
they run 15 minutes a week,
Yeah.
they don't use much propane.
Yeah, so it is Fred's that we have.
and the community center must be Fred too.
No, it's Americans. I got my bill, they have a discount.
So what's the different, price?
What's their price differences?
It's because it all depends of the use
Volume.
you use.
Yeah.
Well, we should be in all.
That's why you should have a larger tank,
If
that
we
way,
were-
you're gonna use a
It's
lot
like
more
yourself,
propane
you
now
know,
than you were before.
Discount.
Well, we will now.
They're going now.
Yes.
Propane too.
So if we had all three of them with the same company, whoever it is, we'd probably get a bigger volume discount.
I think so, I think you will.
And what, community
Very
center, do you think it would be a 500 gallons too then?
It's not, I
No.
don't think it's a
I
500,
think it's a three,
but it's probably gonna need to be.
Yeah.
it's a three something,
Are we putting a
And you.
boiler over there also?
that's in the ground, that
It
tank.
is 15 water, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
All that
library
for
or
the
not.
generator and
okay.
So we could leave that one right there, really, put that on, well, what's easier?
That was a 500 gallon.
That's a 500 gallon there?
Might be.
Check out.
If it is, that'll be big enough.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I don't know if it's gonna down the bill.
It's been a while since I put it in.
You can only put 400 gallons in it. and you can only use 300 gallons of the 400. That's how they do it in AmeriGas.
I got 325 in my garage, and in my other garage, and it, I mean, they come once a month, I never ran out.
They come, give them my reading, my gauge readings, they only come when it's 20% or less.
Yeah. Where
Oh,
you
you
get
got to call them.
No, online.
You
I got
get
it
yours
on
from
my-
Fred? Fred or Marigat?
AmeriGas.
For me, they're just on, they come on a calendar.
Yeah.
Mine is just done when it's down below 20%.
You're way up on Buck Hill.
I do if I put in there, it's 19%, it generates a ticket, and they come
So
within a week.
them guys, so this propane tank at town garage, is that gonna be through the Murphy grant,
Yes, right?
right? And we're gonna buy the tank then,
But you don't need to.
is that part of the Murphy grant money?
I don't think it was listed on the thing. We never thought about it.
Well, probably the heat system.
Yeah, but I don't think we.
I personally would buy a tank myself, but
Yeah.
they take care of it.
Let me see.
$8 a month.
We purchases or whatever, but whoever, so I'm gonna call her gas spreads. I don't think Netto's will be a big difference.
No,
Mm.
that'll,
Worms.
the cheapest one is always Marigat. Around here, right?
What was the other one?
Boy,
$1.98,
We just,
I think I paid my last bill.
how much?
$1.98.
I think one of mine is $1.98, $1.97, something like that.
So then we'll go from there.
They don't want that in pretty soon though.
Huh?
They'll probably want that in pretty soon.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they will.
setting up the
But
furnace.
they only want me to make sure where we gonna put it, so they could put the,
They're just gonna do the,
yeah.
Rough end?
He said the rough end and everything, but then he said
Well,
the,
they can poke, yeah, you do.
Put the regulator outside and
The
everything.
propane license too,
cause you don't need
Naked.
heat in there right now, right?
No,
No,
they both are, yeah.
So, yeah, I just didn't remember where you want to put it in ground. I don't know if you want to put a little,
so
flat.
that's probably,
it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Flush to the building and it's gonna be 12 feet away, so.
In the
So,
corner.
right behind the new bag,
flush to the building, 12 feet away.
behind the new bag,
Yeah, but behind,
behind the new bag.
going towards the fancy trailer.
Like where your fridge.
No drainage there, right?
No, the 12 feet away from the building, yeah.
All right, I'll think of tomorrow.
Okay.
What?
So that's why I wanted,
You gonna put one?
No,
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll pick it up tomorrow.
all right, so when we get around to it, then you can dig us a hole.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all. I mean, any other questions where,
No.
let us know what you hear from the state there. From.
Yeah, I just went down to town garage and moved everything out of their way, right? So.
With the grader, or
Grader's out, yeah. He's on the bench. Let's feel up.
Leave the door open,
Uh,
leave the door open.
But yeah, everything.
any update on, we should talk, since we're talking about that, we should probably do that garage door. We might need that header six. We gotta talk to Ethan on that.
Yeah.
Him and Nick gotta get together, and Nick take the door down.
Yeah.
And
It
hit-
might not be a good time to do it because those guys have got all their tools in there.
Yeah. So we'll wait.
Right, yeah.
I think Greg's in there also, so.
Yeah, Greg, you too?
Doing the lighting,
Is he done? Because I.
No.
no, you're going all the way across.
Yeah.
You gonna do the recycling center too?
Oh, I don't know.
Was that part of it?
Yeah.
Private, right?
All of it, yeah.
Hold on.
We'll need sunglasses now.
Be nice.
It's right. I just turned the lights on.
Oh, yeah, I just did them in my shop,
It's right.
Yes, you can see now,
Perfect.
okay,
Not here. Nice little paycheck.
we'll just move on to the next one then.
Yep.
Yes, well, was there anything else, update on grant projects? Just said propane
Yeah,
tank,
we just said we.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. That little invoice and they reimburse us in 2 days, so they're pretty quick.
Perfect.
Do you guys want us to ask propane things, because I don't think that's in the agreement anywhere.
Right, we'll probably have to take care of
Yeah.
that. Yeah, well, if they have,
It won't
if
cost
we
you
don't buy
anything,
it, it won't cost us anything,
Won't
just
cost you
dig the
nothing.
hole, just the hole, dig the hole.
just a roll, yeah.
But they usually like to put a drain on those things to have daylight in case water gets down in there. But they can figure that out.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Are you talking about the tank?
But like, I think if you
You talking
bought.
about the propane tank?
tank
You talking about-
think they
In the
would-
ground, see if it's in the ground.
Oh, like if there's
Well,
work.
I didn't mind, but mine's insane.
Yes, okay.
okay, signing the
Right,
contract.
contract
Yep.
with Spalding. Probably mine.
We already,
Them guys, yeah.
we already.
Well, neither.
We already
They're
made a
mowing,
motion
but
to
we don't
her.
know when.
Yeah.
We already made a motion to her, last time.
Yep.
Yeah, so we have to sign.
Early.
Yeah, see, they must be coming at like 6:30 in the morning.
6:30, 7:00.
Just a big boss.
Yep.
You smell what manure by your house yesterday? I moved all that around.
I did hear you doing something over there, some of it.
Yeah, I brought some home.
Do not smell, smells good.
Did it smell? No, not bad. That's-
Have you seen the guy that does it?
Nope.
You haven't seen it?
I think he comes really early on a morning.
No
It's like
complaint?
Thursday morning.
Any complaint?
I think just one signature, right?
Well,
No, all
they don't
the
want
rooms are
anyone
there.
down there. Might as well.
I'll sign it. We can-
Well, the cemetery mowed, so that's a big thing.
Yeah, and it looks nice.
Looks nice.
Date? Today's date?
I just
16,
noticed that
I'll let
you
you
don't have flowers too much, but I'll do that.
Okay. Number 15, cemeteries, update on new section. So, anybody, do we,
We had the first remains buried, so it worked out good.
that's,
So it's only the cremains that Jesse wants to do. Jesse Hammond, and then the mortuary. Was it the mortuary or the
Scott, actually.
Scott, the monument company, Heritage
Stop,
Memorials?
Did you break, what's the name, Bert,
Bianchi?
Bianchi?
Bianchi, they'll do the
They
caskets.
have caskets.
I bet you that's gonna cost a lot more than it used to. But the people pay for that,
They pay
right?
for that,
Jesse is 300.
400.
400.
Well, he went to 400
For,
for the.
300 on the
cremation?
weekdays and 400 on the
It's
weekends.
300, yes, 300 during the week and 4 on the weekend.
Okay.
So, did we get a price from Bianchi?
Nope.
For the,
But I heard by Karen that he said it was $800.
for a
Double.
casket?
Just a casket?
But I think at this point, it's kind of like,
That's
We don't have any choice.
right, and that's the going rate,
Yeah,
like,
it is one right.
we've been spoiled.
yeah,
Mhm.
Okay. So that we don't have to do anything about that, or do we need to officially appoint this, new sexton, or?
You probably should, because I think last month we just talked about talking to him about it, and we didn't.
Yeah, and I think I said last month too, that I had talked with Todd, and he said.
Yeah,
we
I
have
talked
to do it.
Yeah.
He said I don't,
Make a motion, do we have to do the
both,
both,
maybe.
both name or?
well, we haven't talked to Scott beyond.
Yeah, we haven't talked to him.
Actually, Jesse said that he would do it, so
Do what?
Scott do the. He said, I made the agreement with Scott.
Yeah, I didn't even think about asking Scott when he was here today.
And he was right here, we should
I
have.
know.
So we probably ought to just, let's just appoint him,
So let's appoint him, we'll
Both of
put
them.
Scott and we'll get back.
so they'll be appointing both of them, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
So appointing Jesse Hammond and
Uh,
Scott
Scott
Bianchi.
Bianchi.
And I suck at that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Discuss Longley Cemetery plots.
Okay, this is kind of complicated. Not sure who was involved with this one, but remember Mrs. Longley, Jean Longley,
Yeah,
wanted to buy 2 cemetery plots for her grandchildren, I think it was. And she was gonna make payments on it. And so I brought it to the select board and the select board decided that she could do that and that we wanted the cornerstones purchased at that time. Is any of this sounding familiar so far?
Not me. Was I on the board
Well,
then?
my days,
It was definitely before your days. I'm pretty sure you were here,
Was that,
was here.
was that when Anna was on?
No,
I
I'm
don't remember
pretty
making
sure.
Any payments on the.
It was
cemetery.
2013. I think that's when it was 2013. So anyways. Grandson came in and he said that he heard that he didn't have a cemetery plot anymore because one of them was going to be for him. But what I remember happening is that either Richard or Eve talked to Paul Longley over here, and because Mrs. Longley hadn't purchased them, she, kind of didn't remember what, that she had agreed to do that. And so she had only made one payment. And so it was decided that they were gonna purchase the 2 plots. And that we were gonna give Mrs. Longley her money back. And Paul and Lucille were gonna buy the plots instead. So Lisa looked it up and Mrs. Longley did get her refund and they bought the 2 plots. Well, the grandson's unhappy because he thought that was his plot and now he doesn't have one and he wants one.
When his wife?
Yeah.
So the question is does he have to pay $800 because he doesn't live in Westfield?
Mm-hmm.
Because his question was, why wasn't I notified?
He wasn't part of it.
Because you were paying for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it, that's.
He had to pay, yeah, so,
He's not a resident, so.
No,
has to
he
pay-
lives in
So-
Troy.
you gotta pay for it.
so Paul ended up paying probably the old price.
Right, this was in.
So.
Yeah, Paul paid the old price.
Yeah. Well, no, for the grandsons, I mean,
That's not, yeah.
it's,
So sorry, it was 2020.
Yeah.
2020 is when we gave Mrs. Longley her refund. And then the Loomises or the,
so that was before, I went on the board then.
so then it was
When he died. Ann was on board for 4 or 5 years.
Oh, well, 2000.
so that's the question is, and then we replaced the cornerstones. And so I told him I have to do the research on it and get back to him because,
It sounds pretty clear cut.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't, I couldn't remember off the top of my head, like, I knew what I thought happened, but I wanted to look into it and see. So the question is, what is the price for him to buy it?
He's,
And did we have any responsibility to notify him at the time? I didn't even know where he lived, really.
why would
like-
we?
up to us.
It was
He was not part of that.
well, it was in his, I think that the original one for Mrs. Longley, that it did say the names, him and his wife's names on it, but it was not paid for.
Yeah,
Never got rid of it.
So what's your,
I'd say he's got
Yeah.
the same price as anybody else, so.
Yeah.
And no, we didn't have any responsibility, but no.
We were dealing with Mrs. Longley, not with him.
Yeah,
right,
right. So did she get buried? Did she pass away or is she still alive?
no, she passed away.
Yeah, so.
Where did she get buried? Up there?
I think so.
In one of those lots.
Her
daughter's there, right?
That's what I'm not sure about.
I'm just curious.
That's what I'm not sure about.
I'm just curious. Who paid for the cornerstones back then? Nobody?
I think there's quite a few Longleys on the list,
Right,
Chair Plus, I don't know if she maybe
So
has.
usually the cornerstone goes there. and gets
Daughter
purchased.
there. Pat, right?
right, and I had notes like on here that the select board said to order the cornerstones. And so the cornerstones were ordered,
So was there ever a deed signed to that cemetery plot?
yeah,
Or just before that?
no, she signed it, Mrs. Longley,
Yeah,
but she
but
never
what-
paid for it.
Right, so she had paid partial.
So
We
somebody had
did
to sign
look
the
at
deed
that.
on that. back
So we
then.
shouldn't, this will never happen again.
No, I won't.
This is not gonna
You
happen,
paid for it, and it's yours.
exactly.
But, yeah, but she paid for it, right, you saying, but
Paid
then,
She
partially.
didn't pay for it, she put like a down payment on it,
so she never finished paying for it.
correct?
So she-
Why did we reimburse her then?
Because
Just
her son and his wife,
Bought it
Bought it.
after, for the
Bought it
price that
after.
it was supposed to
Yep.
be, okay, so we didn't lose any
So
money
the
out of it.
cornerstones were probably had
And they-
L, and now instead of
Yeah.
long, it's Loomis,
right,
still L.
right, so it's the same.
So I don't know who paid the cornerstones or not, but.
I believe
water in the
that,
day.
I believe that the
They
the
did,
Longleys paid the cornerstones. So a new deed was made at that time. Okay, so I'm gonna tell him that he can purchase a plot near
If he
his
wants to,
family if he
yeah.
wants to, and it's the out of town price of 800 plus the cost of the cornerstones.
So Mrs. Vine must be buried up there then, the wild lot.
I
Must be one of those lots.
don't remember where she is.
Oh, well.
Okay, so
Alright.
that's as far as we need to go on that one.
Yep.
Alright, C, permission to bury the family plot.
So on the
Well,
listserv, I think that you got a copy of that in your packet.
Mhm.
Because the cemetery stuff is really
Creepy.
problematic. It's creepy, it is creepy.
I gotta go back to my call.
So, we came across this permission to bury in the family plot kind of form.
Huh? Oh, okay, that's why they moved, okay, I'm good.
So,
Oh, you just got it?
Yeah. Well, I didn't really look at it.
so this is just for information for you.
Okay.
We're starting this when we sell a cemetery plot. This will be part of what gets recorded. And we're gonna ask the people to, write down who can be buried in the plot.
Okay,
Because I've had situations over the years, like, you know, my brother was buried here 25 years ago and my sister died 30 years ago, and now this sister got buried in another cemetery and now that spot's open. How are we supposed to know if any of it's true? So this would be a way for us to say, you know, this is the family form that everybody has to agree upon.
so
I've made people sign off on it before, made them have their family email me saying that they give permission for that spot to be given up but we shouldn't have to go through all that work. You know, you shouldn't have to be such a private eye, and it puts the liability on the town too, which isn't good.
Mhm.
So if that form gets signed when somebody buys a plot, then you keep it on file.
Yep.
And if they wanna change it, then it's,
It says on here that they have to request in writing. And it has to be approved by the owner of the plot or the estate of the owners. So,
there's probably a lot of lots in.
He's saying like mine, I have 5 lots there, but you have it under Nate and I think.
right, so how are we supposed to
So
know
you
who's
don't
supposed to
know,
get buried?
yeah,
Yeah,
And if you two are gone, how are we supposed to know who gets buried
I
there?
got 2 down there, I'm gonna sell all of them, I'm gonna give them back to the town, I'm
so
like.
one's gonna go to Richard.
Whoever dies first.
So
Why not?
I wanna buy 2 lots of there, but I'm gonna donate those back to the town, I bought them way back, I got my stone cornerstones there, I just wanna.
Move
We'll try to find somebody that's got the same initials as you.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
I'm right next to Dago.
So, we're just trying to keep better records now because
So this
the
just
records,
informational.
it's for information.
them. Very good.
Okay, signed corrected quitclaim deeds for Blade on West Hospital.
So this is another thing that was a problem
That's
Was-
Karen and her kids.
with Phil's grandson passed away.
Home choice?
Nope.
No, that would be on.
Shelter.
Okay.
So, what happened is they went up
Well, that's not very long ago.
right, the funeral was just a couple weeks ago.
Ooh.
The burial.
Man,
He passed away a little while ago, but anyways, what happened is when they went to go put in the monument, the monument company put it in the wrong plot.
That's gonna happen quite often.
So,
As long as you don't put the body in the wrong spot.
so what ended up happening was that because it was just swapped. So the grandsons got put in the daughters, so they were flip-flopped. So we're just, so that it's not so confusing down the road, like this whole thing with the last one we just talked about. I just said, we're gonna have to do a corrective deed. So we just basically flip-flopped and who owns which lot. So that's what the corrective deeds are for.
Okay, so we don't have to act on that then.
You do have to sign.
You have to sign.
deeds. Yeah.
Like your little trash can.
Yeah.
We should use that for food scraps other seconds.
Yeah, really.
Man, that food scrap, man.
I buried that.
Ew.
support
I
tank.
moved it the
The
other
other
day.
day,
Yeah,
the other
it's
day I looked in there and it was like, it was all
moving.
moving in there. I was like, "Ugh."
I had to move it because the other day when I was there when Morris and Roger was there, when they took my spot because I had a funeral. It was leaking, so I put it back at the other place, left the space between because it was all over the concrete. I put some of that
Yeah.
kitty litter on it just to clean it up. It was nasty.
Yeah, when I went today, I opened the cover just to look and I buried it some more because it was all moving. Sorry.
Worms growing.
Ready for a steak, Dennis?
I didn't remember, sorry.
Well, I don't like that. That's. I don't mind smell.
That dumpster is awful. full
Oh, yeah, I
today.
didn't give you two.
Yeah, it was full.
But if we can, it's another one.
Yeah, I only gave you one of them. That was the old one.
I'm gonna come back, find those orders. About one time tonight.
You're gonna have a little while of work to do there.
I see that.
I got a dispensation as my answers. I just signed the front. Next time around, you gotta do.
Aren't you supposed to keep it in the sling?
He told me when I came home, because this is it's a replacement, it's not a.
Oh.
He says, you're going home with a sling, the first thing I want you to do is take the sling off.
Yeah.
Really?
But he said, when you go out in public, put a sling on so somebody doesn't.
Bump into you.
So, I'm moving it, I can't do anything heavy, but.
You got good motion though. It's good.
Yeah, everything works, you wonder what all the.
I went back to check out that heifer, she was gone, that white one.
Yeah, so she was in the field.
Yeah, she was she was down below the sand pile, and I
Yeah.
didn't see her after that.
Went up, Jake got there right after me and we went up. He started calling her and all of a sudden she picked her head up.
Yeah,
So he started pushing her down. I said, I bet you if I walk in front of her, she's gonna fall me short.
those other two, they came right
But
in.
they got, somehow they had caught in one of the gates and they
Yeah.
slid it back and they just walked out of there.
Well, those two black ones came right in.
Oh yeah, they're babies.
Those are yours, the black ones, they're all
Yeah,
his.
they're mine.
Yeah.
Okay, common areas, weeds on the playground.
I got a thing for that, we have to take my little weed whacker, it works pretty good, I thought.
It did work good. The road vertical.
I mean, my little road tiller, I tell all that, it's all the shape.
Yeah,
And
break up
so,
the roots, maybe they'll die.
yeah, it'll die.
Okay. so-
You gotta fix one of those, that chain, that's all. It's been on.
We still gotta fix that chain on the other,
Yeah.
on the other swing when we get a
You
chance.
gotta anchor that down.
Is that what D is, items?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything else
Set-
that,
Tighter
We
thing.
need we need an anchor bolt, drill a small hole anchor bolt and put one of those, remember those kettle things we used to put over?
would be perfect.
That's what, you know what I'm talking about, those two,
Yeah, 2 holes and it's got a little,
yeah, drill, 2 anchor bolt.
you got one of them? Rick,
No,
kicking around somewhere? I don't either.
I don't need it, I used to years ago.
Yeah. I don't know if you know what it is, it's
Yeah.
all it is
Make-
basically maybe a 3/8 inch rod that's. Kind of a. It's got 2 holes here and it goes up a little bit. And we used to have a link that's held the
Down.
branches.
Yeah,
No, it's
put a
the
repair
same
line
thing.
for that.
All the stanchion.
I didn't know hardware store, man,
We can make, so.
I can make one. Schedule work for the fire bed.
like you guys already got it, that getting started on
We
that.
didn't put no flowers, but
I
I'll be
got,
there tomorrow, finish the stone.
I'll come down tomorrow.
So you planning on putting something in those whiskey barrels?
Lisa.
Lisa does.
Flowers in there.
Yeah.
Right, Lisa?
Yes.
You're gonna go get some of those, some of that.
Hang, like a big hanging plant to put it in there?
It's the thing I was thinking that maybe we should get it a very cheap, because if I go get it somewhere,
Right. We talked about it, Lisa and I.
She got her sale now, I think.
the sale's coming soon, I'm thinking, so maybe she could give, I'm gonna ask her if she could, see how much she's gonna
Yeah,
give us, but
Sure.
I can bring them barrels down here if you want, or she can do it.
no, it's gonna be too. I'll
Just
just
set 'em
bring
in
it
there.
over.
But those will need to be watered quite often though, because the
Every day,
barrel's gonna be on top of the stone.
twice a day.
Or.
Yeah.
You get the water thing that you stick in them, right?
Yeah.
Keeps watering them.
So like a jug of some kind and
A
it.
little tiny hole, that's all it is, it's such inside the plant.
Big thing you stick in that.
Bring daddy with a key, you know.
It'd be that tall.
But I was,
We-
what she has, I mean, because since she's.
Yeah, I think we should,
Selling flowers, it's kinda hard to.
Yeah.
Bring flowers from somewhere else.
Yeah,
Just-
that's what I would do.
So, I'm gonna ask her for all those things there, so,
Those barrels are big enough too, well, they're gonna have a lot of soil in them, so they'll hold a lot more moisture.
Yeah, they will.
Than just a pot,
There should be rocks in the bottom of it,
stuff in there, so you don't have to put so much soil in there.
or put the stones in the bottom.
The only.
There's the stone, the water goes right out.
Yeah, so if you have more soil,
No,
the moisture will
stay there longer.
Yeah, if there's more.
Well, that
soil,
leaves it
the
aside.
moisture will stay longer, so let you guys take care of that.
Yeah.
Go over to the hardware store, get a couple
We
of
get the
bags
hard,
of
they get a blister,
potting soil.
they get a blister. Yeah, as far as the playground, if I get a chance, I'll come down with a tiller.
And then needs to be, that corner over there needs, you guys took off the corners to put the.
That needs to be picked up.
Take them out of there,
John,
The what?
they're gonna
you
come out.
mean that curb, is that what you're talking about?
There's a curve, there's a long metal
Yeah,
bar
I
like this.
know.
and it
Yeah,
needs to
that
be
thing's
moved.
dangerous.
Yeah.
No,
It
they're
needs to
gonna
be
come out of there.
put back together the right way.
I fit in my bucket, I'll bring it over to the,
But I
Or
thought
put
you
the
were gonna-
pieces back in
If
it,
you
so
wanna
it's
put the
all,
old, the new
well, I don't
one,
want the pieces in there.
Why?
You wanna take it
I'm
out.
thinking that the end, there's no real good purpose for that.
okay, then take the whole thing out.
Yeah,
good,
And make sure there's no metal sticking out.
yeah, those are just anchors, that's what they were doing.
Cause it's really dangerous right
I
now.
think the plow hit it.
Because when we took, yeah, probably, when we had taken the one off the back of the truck last year with the chips there, they looked pretty good without it.
yeah,
And then those things, the tire people will pick them up if we pull it. To pull the rods out of it.
So, we didn't have it on here, but under the common areas, let's just talk about the flagpole at the community center.
gotta cut trees.
I
Yeah.
really would like the flagpole to
No.
be here.
No.
On this,
You gotta cut a tree over there.
yeah, the
Just like
flagpole
tree down.
here would be
No,
nice.
we
Yes.
should move the flagpole from the community center, so we don't have to cut any trees. And the trees will cover up
That's,
the
that's been
ugly.
then though.
Yeah, probably,
That's
yeah.
all it's
You're
about.
not gonna be able to pick that up, you're not gonna be able to pick that
Might
up,
be better
Can
to
you
just
cut
get
it?
a new flagpole.
because then it'll be really, really short after you put 4 feet more in the ground.
Yeah, well,
So
What
no
if-
longer,
I wonder what kind of cement they did that in, if they put deep enough, what if we can dig it out?
well, you'd have a heck of a time getting that in the bucket and over here in another hole.
Is that pole one piece or is it a telescopic pole or?
I don't know, that's
It's
what,
one piece.
we'll try it, well, I'll bring a chain with tractors. If it's just a piece of cement, we can pull that straight out.
Well,
could have
my
it-
tractor you won't, because my tractor's
Yeah.
not very big. Your tractor will.
I have a postal digger too, but there's a 12-inch pole.
Yeah, well, we thought it would work.
That would work pretty good.
Oh, look at, we'll look at it,
Concrete.
what it looks like, we look at, we ain't gonna dig it out until we're ready, we're gonna finish the wire beds first,
Well, the whole.
and the
floor,
weed
yeah.
whacking. No, I mean, the weeds and the,
I got a good 24-inch hole for that mailbox,
You got a what?
at least 2 foot around. And I put the mailbox in,
you made a hole?
I dug a hole.
Dug it
Yeah.
by hand?
Oh, yeah,
Somebody whacked the mailbox again. then they
Again,
fixed it.
since you fixed it?
No, no,
oh, yeah, I was gonna say that, I just replaced mine too,
Alright, we'll look at that,
look at that.
Okay, did we get any kind of literature, this Saturday is the household hazardous waste.
21st.
Yes,
Did we get any kind of literature that says what you can bring and what? you
Yes.
can't bring?
yes, they
Yeah.
already had letters out, they had some over there.
There's one posted outside in
Mm-hmm.
the bulletin board, and we have one inside.
That's
So
right,
you're
this Saturday.
thinking,
Yeah,
that's this Saturday, I'm gonna see if I can come to
Yeah.
help a little, even if I can't help much,
I'm,
but
I'm gonna be there Saturday.
might need, you know, some.
Yeah.
They're gonna come with a truck, and they said they keep taking it till the truck's full, then they go. So I hope, I hope we don't have to check,
I
yeah.
tell a lot of, tell a lot of people that it's supposed to be,
I know, there's gonna be a lot of people
they
coming.
don't come too late.
So, for paint, do they take only oil-based paint for that, or do they take any paint?
Latex
Anything.
paint too, anything.
Because I think I had heard sometime along that latex paint, once it's dry, just throw it in the dumpster.
That's what they do.
But-
Yeah.
And then you throw
It's
your
dry.
tin can, and then if it's a tin can, throw it in the metal dumpster
Still don't even take
About-
latex.
They took all the tin cans last year and threw them in the middle dumpster.
after you dump it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's not the break, it
I got the thinking.
doesn't have the grain some home and help us. Yeah. Okay, so for recycling, schedule. For next month, I don't think, I know I can't do the first weekend because our kids are all gonna be home, but I should be able to get back in the swing of it.
I got more Roger to cover for me for Al's celebration of life, but I can do the first of July.
So that's the 5th of July.
That's the first,
The first Saturday,
5th, that'd be cool.
and then,
It'll be the 5th,
And then the 12th,
You gonna be the 5th, said Richard?
I'll do the 5th, yeah.
so then there's the 12th, 19th and 26th.
The 12th is more, Roger.
And I could do the
Okay.
the 19th, that would give you a little more healing time.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, that puts me a month further a little bit, so okay, but let me say that I'm gonna do the 26th.
Okay,
And if you can't do the 26th,
Well,
Dennis and I have the one.
I'll let you guys know.
yeah, we can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good plan. Hey, executive session, that could be, letters from Sandy Snyder.
So we're just acknowledging that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's just,
Did you send her an acknowledgement?
I didn't yet,
yeah, you
in
should.
case you had anything to add.
That's-
Quite a letter.
Oh,
Yeah, she really
It was good.
put some detail in
She
there.
does, she works hard at it.
You know,
So what she was thinking is that. What made her write that letter is our.
She was on the trip.
When she was worried that we're gonna go upgrade that road with gravel.
Yeah, I know.
I said.
That's a legal
She called
trail there,
me,
right?
so she called me, yeah,
She
she
did
did,
call you?
yeah, yeah. But when she calls me.
an hour or two on the phone.
No, because I usually find a reason to get away, but I give her time
Yeah,
to
yeah.
talk, but so. I said, is there anybody on that legal trail past your place? She says, no. So that's what her worry was, is that we're gonna upgrade that road and she's built it up with rocks and all that kind of stuff. And,
Yeah.
she's a human being, we gotta give her credit, but
Yeah.
Good one.
yeah, so an acknowledgement would be good.
Did we ever get a report on the street for from the sheriff report? That they had that carpet break?
It's still up there.
Yeah, it's still up there.
No, we ain't getting no data on that.
It's not gonna slow
Yeah.
people down.
I think it does some. I asked Jen the other day, cause I had seen her at recycling just a few days after she had sent that first letter there, and so I went to talk to her. And I wasn't working that day, but I went and she was dumping her stuff in. He says, yeah, I think it's about 50% better than it was, so. That's good, go out there, leave it. I mean, they do come down there. Today I came down from there and she was crossing the road to go to her mailbox and she looked like she was nervous, it's a bad place.
So I'll send the email to the sheriff and ask. if We can get data from that.
I wonder if they're recording any data now.
They should.
Of course, you must record it here.
Be nice to know. Okay, yeah, so that's it for me, really. C, September meeting, do the town office staff training. So what do we want to do? Bring it up and push it back, or what's your?
Doesn't matter, push it back.
15.
Go to the,
It'll be the 15th.
21st,
or the, let's see, it's
The
supposed to
22nd.
be 15th, so it's either the 8th, or the 22nd.
Yeah.
22nd.
Second,
Yeah,
22nd's
I
fine.
I don't know that it's making a difference.
No.
Me neither.
September 22nd.
Yeah.
To the same.
In the younger days, we used to miss one of them once in a while.
Yeah.
Yes. The younger
Sometimes
days, we
we-
skip one
Yeah,
once in a while.
Really?
And now we have 5 in
If
December.
we do that, we'll have 4 pages front and back.
okay, D. Resignation,
So, today I got a letter from Karen. And she talked to me, well, she gave me the letter, but she said, I have decided to terminate my job as assistant town clerk as of June 30th, 2025. It has been a privilege to serve the community, to get to know the residents and their dogs. And contribute to work such as the land records that will always show my name as the assistant town clerk. I had a good teacher over the past 5 years plus, and wish you only the best, LaDonna. Good luck to Nikki as positions change in the next year. I will be around to help if needed. Sincerely, Karen Blake.
Good. Good.
okay,
So I had told her that because there was no elections this year, that I really felt like I needed to cut her back to 1 day a week. So she just decided that she would, look at her retirement options, and she came back to me today and said she just was gonna resign.
so
She was planning on getting done in December anyways.
he's employable, somebody else
Yep.
might snatch her up.
Yeah,
So she's done a lot of nice things for the community, and
Mhm.
I'll get a card, so you guys
yeah.
can sign it.
Okay,
That's good.
all right, do we want to go back to executive session?
Well, the other business, I was back home, we took care of
Yeah,
it.
did that already.
We still want to go to executive session, am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so motion to go on to executive
So I'll
session.
make a motion that we go into executive session.
And it would be for grievances other than tax grievances.
No fucking that.
All in favor, say aye.
Right?
Aye, opposed, the ayes have it. Okay, we're in executive session. Favor, say aye.
Well, anyway, I'll make a motion that we send a letter to Jennifer Grace about her questions on the wastewater system that we having done,
Yeah, so
survey.
should that motion say that we acknowledge her letter and respond to her
Yes,
questions?
yes, we did acknowledge her letter.
And I was
Respond,
like,
respond to that.
Okay. Any more questions or comments? If not, all in favor, say aye.
I,
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Any
make a
other?
motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I second it.
To adjourn in a second. At 8:15 PM. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Never is, the ayes have it. Okay,